everybody. Here we go again.
Hmm.
What's it? Once more into the breach. Am I saying that right, RJ?
Yeah, once more into the breach, dear friends. Once more, and I can't remember where the hell it's from.
Did you just say? Did
And
you just say?
maybe Shakespeare, one of the Henry V, something like that, maybe.
Hold on. Somebody either in the hangout or in the group chat, go outside and see if the moon is still in orbit. I think I just heard RJ say I can't remember. That is
It's too cloudy. I can fix it.
that I don't even know what to say to that. But anyway, oh Dev, here comes Dev. Rockin'. Dev, welcome. We're just getting started. Alrighty. Well, we should be just about set. And I think we've got Dev's TV. Good enough.
He's here.
Yeah, Dev's here, but Dev's TV is also here in the background. All right. Well, let's just you know what? Since these things run kind of long, and not everybody can stay awake till the end. Yes, Ray. Yes, Ray. It is. You guys made me promise last week that we would finally get to homeopathy, so it most definitely is. All right. Let's, while we're waiting for Dev to adjust the television down, let us. Normally, I would run the closing credits at the close, but since not everybody stays up that late, I'm going to run them now. So here we go. Everybody, congratulate David for supporting our efforts here. Look at that, David313. I hope you're watching. Anyway, there's that. And all right, here we go. Hopefully, is Dev's TV too much of a distraction? Should we do the mute? Oh yeah. There's going to be Rich. There's going to be actual snake oil salespeople in tonight's videos, and usual rules apply. If they're just horrendously bad, anybody on the Hangouts or in the public chat can request that we move on to something different. We shall see. Once again, congratulations, David. You are in at the associate professor level, and we thank you very much for your support. Alrighty. All right. Dev, I'm muting you. That's a little distracting. When you kill the TV, feel free to unmute. Alrighty. Everybody ready? RJ, you still there? Okay, cool. All right. Everybody else got on mute just to be okay. You all know the rules, of course. I was criticized for specifying the rules last time. When something stupid comes up, yell drink, we'll stop the vid, and comment to your heart's content. Everybody else, please wait until he or she who is commenting ceases to comment, and then you can add your details. All right. We are starting with a monotonous and droning video. Science behind homeopathy. How homeopathy works. And once again, I will apologize in advance for what we're about to do to all of you. Here we go.
How homeopathy works. The plausibility and modus operandi from scientific point of view. Fundamental research in homeopathy. Homeopathy is a complex science and a challenge. Everybody is curious to know about high dilutions and homeopathy. Is it a complex coding? Or a complex equation? A complex molecular phenomenon? Genetics? Or something beyond our guess? The conventional research revolves around two major questions: does homeopathy work? And if at all yes, how does it work? Homeopathy faces questions, comments, criticism, and above all allegations. There is a constant comparison and burden to prove the plausibility of homeopathy. If we have questions, we do have answers. Let us take one by one.
Richard in the public chat has called drink already. Because and I approve. Due to the robot voice, I concur that will be a drink moment.
Different aspects of homeopathy and glimpses of major research findings. For skeptics, the dilution in homeopathy is next to impossible, and hence they don't hesitate to term homeopathy as pseudoscience or placebo.
I do.
But this allegation is no longer valid. Using transmission electron microscopy, electron diffraction, and chemical analysis by inductively coupled plasma atomic emission spectroscopy, the team from Indian Institute of Technology, India demonstrated the presence of physical entities in high dilutions, in the form of nanoparticles of the starting metals and their aggregates. Ultra high dilutions.
Okay, you know what? I'm calling drink just for the insertion of sciencey talk where it was not necessary.
Nanoparticulate hypothesis. In continuation to earlier work, the same team experimented to explain the hypothesis of retention of nanoparticles at ultra-high dilutions. It was observed that the nanoparticles levitate to the surface and are accommodated as a monolayer at the top, which is preserved and carried to the subsequent steps. Thus, all dilutions are only apparent and not real in terms of the concentrations of the starting raw materials.
What?
Word salad.
Establishing the interfacial nanostructure and...
Did I hear correctly? Did he say it's not real?
elemental composition
I'm
of
a bit
homeopathic
skeptic.
medicines based on inorganic salts. Continuing the work, Beller and team in 2015 concluded that the metal and inorganic salt-based homeopathic medicines retain the starting material as nanoparticles encapsulated within a silicate coating. On the basis of these studies, the authors propose a universal microstructural hypothesis that all...
Okay. Hey, RJ,
RJ here.
Yes?
Yeah, you see, I went through about this one and knew what the videos were. I went through and put down the reference details on all the papers, and they've only got like about 36 or 38 altogether in the course of this. So what you're going to be seeing is a continuous string of these source references, but it's all the little stuff buried in blurry fine print down at the bottom that's kind of relevant, and also kind of the topic here. In this case, when they talk about nanoparticles encapsulated within a silicate coating, what it involves is they're able to find tiny traces of stuff that end up producing little accretion gunk and use their little microscopes to take pictures of. And without ever saying that they actually do anything, the fact that they detected them makes them think that they are showing that homeopathy actually works.
Okay, case closed. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's like seeing a dust bunny, and that shows you that unicorns are real.
Very good. All right, and let's continue.
Types of homeopathic medicines consist of silicate-coated nanostructures dispersed in the solvent. Homeopathy emerging as nanomedicine.
It jumped through pretty quick.
In 2011, researchers from India investigated ultra-pure samples of few homeopathic drugs that found that nanoparticles and conglomerates which had crystalline nature and were rich in silicon were present in these dilutions. As various forms of silica are known to interact with proteins and cells of the immune system, they proposed that homeopathy might represent a nanomedicine system. Adaptive network nanomedicine, an integrated model for homeopathic medicine. This work by Iris Bell and team presented an evidence-based model for the nature and mode of action of homeopathic remedies. They observed that the silica nanostructures are formed during succussions acquire and convey epitaxial information from remedy source materials into higher potencies. They concluded that nanoparticles have enhanced bioavailability, adsorptive capabilities, adjuvant reactivity, electromagnetic and quantum properties compared with their
Quantum
bulk
properties.
Yeah, stop. I gotta call a drink on that one. Yeah, it's that quantum property part that struck me as so amusing in here. You know, not merely electromagnetic and adjutant reactivity, like they're going to explain and you're going to figure out all on your own, but quantum properties. Are we getting quantum tunneling here? Perhaps medicine is boring its way from one glass to another without actually going through the intervening states. I would want to know more about these quantum properties.
That could very well be the case, and I am somewhat curious as well. I believe the goal so far has been to throw in, like I said, as many sciencey words as possible, and that's in order to convey some sort of you know what? I'm out of words. Let's just let it play.
Stimulating hormetic
Well, you'll
adaptive
notice
rather
that
than
also, if you
conventional.
total up, there's a relatively small number of journals involved.
Uh-huh.
There's the Homeopathy Journal, and then there's the highly respected international journal of, God, what the hell was it? It's a very, very long name in here. Anyway, most of the stuff, even though they're coming from a lot of different scientists, in air quotes, there were a relatively small number of in-house journals that are basically printing the things that they want to be true. So way down the road, we're going to encounter the one example where they actually are from a regular science journal. I'll put comments in when we get down to that.
All right. Oh, here we go again.
Pharmacological effects. In this study, a team from Kolkata, India reported the effect of the homeopathic drug made from copper metal in ultra-high dilutions on liposomal membrane fluidity that compared well with that obtained with copper nanoparticles at low concentration, confirming that homeopathy is basically a nanomedicine. In a paper titled Nanoscale Cluster Structure of Oxygen Gas-Filled Nanobubbles in Oxygen Gas Supersaturated Alkaline Solution, Otsuka discussed that there exists a close parallelism between gas-filled nanobubble solutions and ultra-high dilutions. Both these solutions contain Brownian nano-sized bubbles. A number of discrete peaks in a NTA-size distribution of oxygen nanobubbles in 0.1 molar sodium carbonate 8 days.
Brownian nano-sized bubbles, he said. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I love that one too. I wasn't entirely sure whether they know what the hell that meant.
That's okay. I was wondering. Okay.
Later
Maybe it's they're jostling around in Brownian movement apparently.
Could very well be.
Are closely related to the existence of stable nanobubble. This goes in conjugation with Demangiat's work that shows essential role of succussion causing nanobubble formation. Nanosized solvent superstructures in ultra-high dilutions. In this research, the ultra-high dilutions as well as control underwent strictly similar, simultaneous dilution and agitation, for each level. Proton nuclear magnetic resonance relaxation demonstrated modifications of the solvent throughout the low to ultramolecular range of dilution. The findings suggested the existence of superstructures that originate stereospecifically, developing more upon dilution and persisting beyond Avogadro. Now the important points are: the specific way homeopathic remedies are made, the nanoparticles accumulate in a layer that is variably sampled in making serial dilutions. The bulk form of the source material is gone at higher dilutions, but small amounts of the nanoforms of the source material persist in layers and probably along the sides of the glass containers. In addition, the small nanoparticles may acquire atom-like quantum properties including macro-entanglement. Ultra-high dilutions may exhibit direct biological effects through amplified effects of silicon.
Okay. You called it first.
Yeah, RJ here. Macro entanglement. Yeah, like a macro evolution here. That I'm not entirely sure what they think that means, but again, all they're doing in this kind of work believe me, although it sounds like a word salad, it actually kind of mean things within their context. But what it means is that little teeny bits of stuff can accrete and form little silicate coatings, and they can end up being visible, like coated on the edge of the stuff, in the same way that little bits of sugar may show up in the bottom of your tea if you let it drain down enough and evaporate, and that they can detect that, and they're hoping that that's the mechanism that is causing the homeopathy to work. They haven't quite got to the stage of showing that that does make anything happen, but they got the theory, in air quotes, down.
Indeed, and this is a little bit of a shift because in not more than 2 or 3 years ago, the homeopaths were agreeing that yes, everything's gone, it's just water, but they were actually pitching a water memory at the time, that the water remembers when it used to have stuff in it, and the fact that you've diluted it serially so many times, there's nothing left, um, didn't matter because the water remembered. This seems to be a departure from that. It seems like they're trying to say that there's still some stuff there. So at least they're leaning more towards what would be reality. A little.
Yeah, with all of those quantum macro entanglement effects.
Yep.
Yeah, those. All
or
right.
or unicornosity in the common parlance.
Yes. Okay. So far, no mention of penguins. We're good. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Nanoparticles from succussions. The
Succussions. Is that the homeopathic way of saying shake it? That is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Bond, James Bond. I want a martini, succussed, not stirred.
Yeah. So everybody listening, every time you hear these wackos say succussion, they mean shake it. Apparently, there's some magic in the shaking.
second most
Well, they do
frequently asked
specialized shaking. In fact, there's apparently quite a bit of homeopathy literature on the do's and don'ts of shaking crap.
Hmm. Oh, look here! They're showing it exactly. Yeah, because you have to succuss it in between each one of these steps. But all right, here we go.
question about high dilutions and homeopathy is the process called potentization. It is argued that from conventional scientific point of view that potentization seems to be an irrational and mysterious procedure, difficult
You
to
bet.
explain by
I would
well-established
say
physical
so.
theories. But can
Does anybody else get the impression this is going to be a very quick movie night? Because do we we don't have to say anything. It's-
it really be demonstrated? Do we have any direct and indirect evidence? The answer is yes, we do have. In 1997, a work by C.R. Mahata offered explanation for the medicinal and curative mechanism of homeopathic medicines.
okay.
He termed potentized medicines
Yeah,
as induced
I
and
got to call a drink on this one
Okay.
from a scholarly method review. RJ here. You'll notice that what we have on the screen is apparently a mishmash of multiple sources, because the thing down on the bottom says acupuncture and electrotherapeutic research. Somebody apparently stutters while they type the copy from 1999. But the text up above is a reference to the homeopathic heritage, May 1997. So apparently the guy's work is discussed in a general homeopathic thing and then sort of gets connected up to the acupuncture and electromagnetic therapeutic research from a later source. So which source are we talking about? Is it some earlier than 1997 source that isn't the homeopathic heritage? Or is it the homeopathic heritage? Or is it the source that is alluding to the homeopathic heritage secondarily? We've got a little Russian doll nesting of uncertain provenance on the material in the thing. Plus, then you got Igor German published a paper, Instrumental Measuring. Is that either one of those? Woo, it's a mess when you just try to figure out what you're looking at.
Indeed. All right. Oh, uh-oh. Look in the public chat. Eat is here. Did I not get the link to you? Let me know if you didn't get the link or if you're just unable to join the panel. Um, that's one of our newer panelists who always
It makes me
brings.
sad because I'm not deaf.
All right, Eat. If you need the link, just mention it in the chat. I will make sure you get it immediately. In the meantime, I will once again apologize to all because I'm starting the foolishness once again. Here we go.
Molecules of crystals of water generated during different steps. In 1999, Igor German published a paper instrumental measuring of different homeopathic dilutions of potassium iodide in water and used differential corona discharge Kirlian electrophotography of water drop pairs. Comparison were made between homeopathic dilutions, ordinary distilled water, shampotentous distilled water and non-potentous solutions. In a paper titled, Homeopathy Emerging as Nanomedicine, Dr. C. Nayak and Dr. Upadhyay put forth that during the violent strokes involved in potentization, information arising from the serially diluted starting substance might be encrypted by epitaxy on silicon-rich crystalline nanoparticles present in the resulting homeopathic medicine. Gas nanobubbles and
Duly stopped.
Yeah, RJ here. Boy, that's the one that another one that I really loved about that. You know, the violent concussions apparently from the successing, and then all of these momentous effects that supposedly are coming from all of this. This was one where they were really just jacking up the implications of stuff that now that we're into the nano bubbles. We're talking about fluids that have all of the drama of stale 7-Up.
Alrighty. On that note, we shall continue.
and aqueous nanostructures, the crucial role of dynamization. Nanobubbles production is greatly enhanced by gas dynamization. These superstructures seems to increase in size with dilution, into the ultramolecular range. The author postulates that superstructures result from a nucleation process of nanobubbles around a solute, with shells of highly organized water which protect the solute against outdiffusion and behave as nucleation centers for further dilution steps. This is next frequently asked question. Does homeopathic potencies carry information? And how this information is transmitted to other systems? In 1960s, Barnard GP developed the idea of the memory of water, or in other words, something of the original substances is ingrained in the vehicles, which had in fact been considered by homeopaths since Hahnemann. In 1988, Benveniste studied the action of ultra-high dilution.
Okay.
Yeah, I was warning you about this one, and here it is, RJ here. Now, from a scholarly methods point of view, we'll notice something really interesting that caught my eye. You'll see about Jacques Benveniste, French immunologist in 1988, and by publishing a paper in Nature on actions of UHD on degranulation of human basophils. And you'll notice what isn't on the screen, a reference to where the paper was other than just it's in Nature. How come no source citation on it all of a sudden? So I looked that one up first, and it turned out he had done this paper. They had found this phenomenon that surprised them at the time. They had actually been working on it for years. Nature pushing it because they insisted that they replicate it or have somebody replicate it. And it turned out it was hard to do. And then this turned into a cause celeb. I've already acquired a neat little study on it that was done in American Scientist about 4 years after this in 1992, and thus 20 some odd years ago when this video was being made, that went into all the mess about Benveniste. And the problem was they weren't doing double-blind studies on this stuff. And what they were detecting seemingly was a strange phenomenon where they were staining the little things and they were finding just a tiny little bit of material in there. And it was observer bias. The people, if they knew what they were supposed to be seeing, they were seeing more of what they wanted to see. And if you did a double blind test with the same data or new data, the effect disappeared completely. No one could ever replicate this damn thing. So maybe that is a clue as to why they're kind of not wanting to draw our attention to that Nature paper or anything associated with it this time, you think?
Entirely possible. Alrighty. Here we go again.
On degranulation of human basophils. He concluded that the configuration of molecules in water was biologically active, that is, water has memory.
Okay, I'm just going to say drink. No, it doesn't. Okay.
This memory
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Transmitted and reinserted into
Water doesn't have
sample.
memory. It didn't have it.
Yeah, but that, plus, I mean, what we watched so far, I may have had an overdose because I've had no homeopathic anything today, which, according to everything we've heard so far, is an overdose. Let's see. Okay, Jacques Benveniste. Okay.
Water. In 1991, the clathrates theory gave us a new outlook. This model proposed small water clusters, clathrates, which were capable of carrying and transferring medicinal properties of high dilutions in vehicle solvent. Clathrates can reproduce themselves during the dilution process, similar to the way crystals grow. In 2007, 2 reviews about memory of water are worth mentioning. The conclusion quoted, "There is strong evidence concerning many ways in which the mechanism of this memory may come about." For homeopathy, memory of water effects, if proven, not only require the solution to retain information on dilution but require this information to
Okay.
RJ here again. You'll notice what we're seeing right in front of us. Here are papers in homeopathy journals which are proposing notions that are already 10 years old at the time the paper is noted. And it says that if proven, if this were proven even within their own framework, why are we citing a 10-year-old paper? Why can't you just cite the thing that proved it? Unless, of course, nobody could ever prove it because it's not actually true. The date is giving us away as to how little this stuff is going. They're bouncing all over the place from one decade to another, quoting material, but even as it is, forgetting the fact that please don't put in a statement about how this is a hypothesis and it hasn't been proven yet. Clearly, you haven't proven it yet. Otherwise, you'd be citing something more recent.
One would imagine. But yeah, memory of water. It kind of makes it. I mean, if it is ever proven, that is going to make you a little hesitant to even have a glass of water, isn't it? I mean, you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah. Well, where has your water been?
Exactly. It's been inside of
And
most of the people we know.
The logic of their whole position. That they're homing in on these tiny little nanoparticles and nano bubbles and quantum effects. And they're always observing they're basically taking material, using detectors, magnetics, and various reagents to detect that something is in the fluid or has now congealed and attached to something else on the fluid in the same way, or on the walls once you dry everything out. And all they're looking is basically the waste products of natural physical processes. But they never can quite get to but does this do anything?
Yeah.
It's all a pile of dust bunnies.
Yet to be mentioned, I suppose. There we go.
To be amplified to negate the effect of the dilution. It is also of importance to note that nonspecific mechanisms of action, such as activation of a nonspecific immune response, may give rise to effects with specific health consequences. Much research work remains to be undertaken if these...
Yeah, I guess so, with all the mentions of specific causing non-specific, and then, a little bit of research might clarify that paragraph a little bit.
Real and observable facts are to be completely understood. And if an explanation on physical grounds is to be found, research must focus in other aspects of the preparation, such as the presence of other molecules and dissolved gases. Electromagnetic transference of molecular information in garden cress germination. In this research, the authors followed the hypothesis that biologically relevant information from various substances can be non-chemically transferred to organisms.
Drink on that one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's one that I was able to get full text, and spent some time looking through it earlier today so that I knew exactly. That's good old Ruzik's electromagnetic transference of molecular information. That molecular information, I was intrigued because he never explains in the damn paper what the hell they mean by molecular information. But the problem is all they're arguing is that they did little seedling growths of like 190 or so batches of seeds, which they were going to prove retain this molecular memory or nanoparticle memory, and that they would have memory of herbicides that would deter growth, and memory from a growth supporter, a chemical fertilizer stuff that would increase growth. And by their own damn numbers, they couldn't find more than just a tiny number of increase or decrease. And sometimes it was increasing with the herbicide and decreasing with the growth medium, and then others the reverse. And they were narrowing their data stream down so that they came up with what seemed to be statistically significant things if you ignored the fact that it was such an incredibly small sample. And that's the best that they could do on this. So it turns out that seed germination is in fact directly affected by electromagnetism. And that's about the only effect they were getting was from the fact they were using electromagnetism to interfere with the germination in one way or another. The memory stuff was entirely an artifact of their data. Plus, it was based on individual observation of how much growth had been done. And that's another one of those double-blind effects. It wasn't a double-blind study. The people knew what the effect was supposed to be and were guided unintentionally to support their own view. And the best they could come up with were these little slight variations. No, it was a terrible study if you actually read it.
And either of those variations you mentioned can be used to verify a different point. Any change whatsoever, and look, see, it still has memory. Anything that varied off of the expected outcome in whatever small quantity. But if there was delayed germination or something like that, then they could insist that, see, the nanomedicine does in fact work because it restricted the germination. So it's is this creationism?
And this was exactly the same problem with the Benevenista study that they had glided past at 90 miles an hour. That because they had never done double-blind studies and had never been, and nobody could replicate it effectively unless you were just the group that seemed to replicate it, you end up with this incestuous thing where people are doing their little stupid little studies. So they're behaving sciencey. But the problem is they're not sciencey enough. They don't control for the human error, the expectation error, and the ability to replicate it independently. They fail miserably on that kind of stuff. This is another one. This one is also an old study. It's from 2008. So again, you've got, remember what we've gone in computer technology since 2008? We've gone to the point where you have cars that didn't have Bluetooth to self-driving cars. You've got all this technological advance and the medicine that we've developed and the new things that we've developed, and they're still stuck trying to confirm that they can change garden crests by molecular information.
Indeed. And as you described the experiment there, it sounds like you're not familiar with the story of the Planarians experiment, are you?
Oh, that's old
bet you
Kammerer back in the 1920s, right?
that was it was supposed to be a parallel of the Pavlov's dog thing where they flashed a light.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Inheritance of Acquired Characteristic. Yeah,
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff with that, and earlier Kammerer stuff with the midwife toad and all that. It turns out some of the data that they were riffing off of was actually true. It involved epigenetics. We now know there's a whole additional inheritance modulator involving with the methylation of DNA during the replication process. And those little methylation signals, I've got a section on it in TIP in 1.4 where I go into the science on it. But the little methylization signals in epigenetics can be temporarily inherited a few generations and sometimes even longer, but they're still a completely natural phenomenon. And that actually explains some of this stuff that was going on with inheritance of acquired characteristics that were in these earlier studies. They weren't controlling for epigenetics.
Yeah, that's what I found really entertaining in the Planarians experiment that I was referring to was the remember it was shock them and then flash a light at the same time, and then this went all the way through. Then take away the shock and just do the light, and they still contracted just like when they were shocked. And then they ground them up and fed them to a completely separate generation of planarians who miraculously retained the memory that the flash of light equals pain, and nobody bothered to check if planarians automatically contract when you flash light on them, which apparently they do.
Like through the
Yes.
yeah,
which,
that those little fiddly bit details that you just skipped on that. And there's an the short form is that human beings can do science because scientists are human beings, and the scientific method is a really annoying technique that you have to use to protect yourself from your self-delusion characteristics. And it's so easy to fool yourself. And that's why the double-blind ideas, that's why the replication experiments, that's why all of that stuff. Beware of anything that comes from just one team. Beware of stuff that nobody can seem to replicate.
Indeed.
It's overhyped. And boy, homeopathy is hitting all of those home runs on that.
Does seem to be the case. All right. Let us continue then. This night's really flying, isn't it?
Chuck Berry, a whole lot of shaking going on. That's Succession, yeah.
Succession, a whole lot of succussion, so whatever the hell it is. All right, here we go.
Of a high voltage electric field. Results showed biological effects of electrically imprinted information of biologically active substances into water solutions. This work studied the influence of magnesium phosphate in high dilutions on SDS aggregates assayed through 1,3C nuclear magnetic resonance. The spectrum of SDS and Mag-P12C in D2O presented an extra signal in 221.41 ppm when compared to the SDS and D2O spectrum, and was not a machine-generated artifact. The experiments carried out in this work.
I'm glad it was not an artifact. That's good. I am pleased to hear that. We do not need any artifacts.
I was afraid it was going to be Artie Johnson from Laugh-In, but no, as long as it's just an artifact.
All right, very. And for this particular section, I don't care what kind of accent or if he was barely comprehensible. I think he really should have read this out himself instead of using the computer voice.
Well, I suspect because the guy that is the main sponsor of this, the one that posted the video, it's his group. He's from India. Mm-hmm. And I suspect he has a really thick accent that maybe he doesn't want to sound like that. So they decided to pick the Stephen Hawking Light model on the voice synthesizer.
Could very well be. All right.
Suggest that the signal was induced by a combination of SDS and the high diluted solution. Water as carrier of information. In this experiment, plants were connected using water-filled tubes. One beaker contained a leaf of heat-stressed or Cant-Harris 200 treated plant, whereas the other has a leaf of unstressed and untreated plant. Stress or treatment is given to a leaf different from that immersed in water. A homeopathic potency is thought to be specifically structured water which influences the water structure in the treated organism.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. How do the paragraphs above justify that conclusion that's below the blue? I'm not seeing a connection there. It's like penguins swim very well. I'm hungry.
Well, the other paper, the one that I looked at, they make a great deal about heat stressing, and there is a whole technical literature about in the regular scientific community about how temperature variation can affect organisms and germination patterns. But they're coming at it kind of like the not well thought out grade school science fair exhibit. They're doing it at a relatively rudimentary level, and they're not trying to control enough. Plus, they don't explain in very grave detail. This has been noted with other homeopathy studies that there's a whole bunch of supporting context that when you look at the paper, as I did in that one that I mentioned earlier, you don't get much detail about what the hell they're doing. It's very, very superficial. And because these aren't really peer-reviewed journals, these are homeopathic in-house journals that repeat the homeopathy doctrines. They have no incentives to be careful with their work other than at the little grade school science fair level.
Indeed. All right. Yeah, this slide I'm not thrilled with. That as if that's different from the slides we've seen so far.
Experimental evidence of stable water nanostructures. This work presented results of several experimental methods evidencing structural changes induced in high dilutions. These findings confirm the hypothesis that formation of water aggregates occurs in ultra-high dilutions. It was concluded that the experimental data can be analyzed and interpreted with reference to the thermodynamics of far-from equilibrium systems and irreversible processes.
Ooh, a
Whoa,
lot
whoa,
of.
whoa! Are we in Star Trek or what?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, well, we're far from equilibrium, I'll tell you that.
Indeed. And they mention aggregates, which is that's a good word. That'll catch people. Ooh, there's aggregates going on. I don't see an indication of what they're talking about aggregating. Are they talking about the water molecules aggregating into patterns because of what used to be in them? Or are they talking about aggregates of a water molecule and some of this ultra diluted crap? It doesn't seem to specify. Yet
But it's confirmed the hypothesis
well,
of the undefined water aggregates.
all right. Well, as long as there is aggregation going on, I guess we should be happy and assume that we're all good.
Well, I bet if you look at a glass of water, there's a lot of aggregated water in there.
That is true. That is true. And I guess we'll have to give them this one. All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's definitely far from equilibrium.
I've got frozen water aggregates right now in my glass, and I'm performing a thermodynamic experiment on them to see how long it'll take before the aggregates transform into a new state called liquid.
I see. All right. Well, keep us updated on that. Here we go. Oh, I see sugar pills coming up. Let's see what this is all about.
People asks whether sugar pills are effective as medicines. This study answers the same. Globules were dissolved in ultra-pure water.
Globules of what?
And absorbance in the ultraviolet range was measured.
Absorbance of light in the ultra. Okay, all right. That's something you'd want to know about.
Statistically significant differences were found for many homeopathic dilutions as compared to controls. This study has expanded previous findings from aqueous potencies to globules and may indicate that characteristics of aqueous high dilutions may be preserved and detectable in dissolved globules. Are there any means by which potencies can be differentiated from each other? In 1951, Alphonse Gay demonstrated that microdilutions have dielectric indices which differ from their liquid vehicles and are specific both for the substances in dilution as well as for the degree of dilution. In 1952, Gay and Boyarin found that ohms.
All right, everybody I don't know if RJ, I don't know if you had time to look and they wouldn't get what they're saying here. They said it in a very long way, but they're talking about the electrical resistance of from this paragraph. It sounds like they're talking about the resistance of the substances in dilution as opposed to a change in pure
water. Yeah, I
water.
didn't get to this stage in research.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's basically silly. All right, so galvanometer, ohm meter. Okay, moving on.
Law is not applicable for microdilutions that the electrical resistance is not linear. In 1950.
What frequencies now? Oh, we're throwing frequencies in here. 1 and 2. So that's 1 point. Now, was this European? Does that point really mean a comma? Are they talking about 1 kilohertz and 2.6 kilohertz, or is that I wonder if it's 1 hertz and 2.6 hertz. Don't know and don't care, because between that range, there wouldn't be anything statistically valid. No. Okay.
P3 Gay extended his work in collaboration with Jean Boyarin. Using the same apparatus, in 100 out of 100 attempts they were able to distinguish a flask containing sodium chloride, diluted to 27 potency from 6 other identical flasks containing distilled water. Characterization of the structure of ultra-dilute sols with remarkable biological properties. In this work the team examined the structures of many waters like silver aquasols and homeopathic remedies. The results showed that such materials can be easily distinguished from the pure solvent, and from each other, by the use of UV, vis and Raman spectroscopy. Effect of dielectric.
Wait a minute. It might just be a failing in my education, but I am unfamiliar with Raman spectroscopy. Is anyone familiar with Raman spectroscopy?
That actually is a real thing. It's used.
It
pops up when they're studying little tiny bacteria and crap that are in fossils.
Okay.
So it has to do with the kind of way things radiate stuff. So actually, it is a real phenomenon that occurs. Right. It's pretty rarefied. things that they get to later on refer to Curlian research. So essentially,
Oh.
anything that will make things go buzz and zap, they're going to bring in and try to find some significance on it in relation to the homeopathy.
Okay. All right. It does make a
I'm
little
trying to
sense.
look up this this Alphonse Gay guy and Jean Boiron. Apparently, he was an early leaguer in the modern micro dilution homeopathy set over there in France. So yet another in-house authority figure. When they mention how his apparatus did that 100 out of 100 attempts, this is all stuff apparently they've gleaned off of a website, because I've suddenly found a website which says exactly the same thing. The issue is, if somebody else used the equipment, could they do the same experiment? And that's where we get into that replication problem.
Indeed. Alrighty. Let us continue.
Electric dispersion on potentized homeopathic medicines. This work reported dielectric dispersion occurring in potentized homeopathic medicines subjected to variable frequency electric field. Each studied potency exhibited a set of resonance frequencies, termed as its characteristic set, which was different from those of others. Identification of unknown homeopathic remedies by delayed luminescence. In this experiment, Lenner detected photons in highly potentized argentum metallicum by delayed luminescence. It was put forth that a quality control of homeopathic remedies is possible by comparing the different B2 values of the remedies and their carrier substances. Derivation of an empirical relation between the size of the nanoparticle and the potency of homeopathic medicines. The group studied the size of nanoparticles of various homeopathic dilutions, and drew a general mathematical expression which relates the size of nanoparticles with the corresponding potencies.
Okay.
Raman spectroscopy shows different.
Where's the math? Where was it? He went through that a little quick.
Oh, you'd have to read it. I'm sure that they had that in the paper. I saw charts and graphs in the paper that I looked at too. And I'm sure that there's stuff in there. They've taken junk data. And, you know, it's possible to make a chart and a graph from any data, no matter how absurd.
Indeed. Indeed. And if you use nice colors, you can use it for 4 meetings by just rotating it 90 degrees for each meeting. All right.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure, you know, that if you want to graph the horn length on unicorns compared to the flipper length on penguins, you can do it. You can do a chart on it. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I would imagine. All right. Here we go again.
Drugs at ultra-high dilution prepared with stepwise mechanical agitation. This work by Sukul and team explored the nature of the water structure of homeopathic drugs by laser Raman spectroscopy. The work could differentiate the potencies of medicines when compared to respective controls, on the basis of hydrogen bond strength and free O groups. Raman spectroscopy reveals variation in free O groups and hydrogen bond strength in ultra-high dilution.
Wait a minute.
Nah.
Wait a minute. They're talking about. They're talking about they found some ions. There's ions and they found some ions floating around. That's it.
Yeah,
OH negative. Anything and dust landing in the thing will cause a little. You get some H positives and some OH negatives floating around.
They do relatively small samples, and they are expecting a certain result, and they beam things and they irradiate stuff and they find things that give off stuff, and they only select the ones that fit their model. And then they write little papers and they draw the lines and they show the effects. But the difficulty is to be able to do that consistently. When they're down at a nanoparticle scale, you're going to get oscillations with any measurement. You get that Brownian movement and all the other stuff that's happening at that kind of a scale. So if you only count the times when it's bouncing up and don't pay attention to the times it's bouncing down, you can produce these odd effects. And even in their own report that I'd read, they're getting this kind of stuff on the limited samples they're dealing with. But you're getting that over and over again on these things.
All right, so it's basically if you try enough different things, you can get something that indicates or at least points to the results you want. All right, good enough.
Yeah.
And,
or better yet, the guy with the 100 times of everything came up exactly the same thing. I suspect it's like the clever Hans horse. You're getting the result that you're feeding in.
All All right, but like we said earlier on, we're really blowing through this. A lot of what we've seen is quite self-refuting, and
The
it
same
is.
fact, yeah. You could take any one of these papers, and in fact, if anybody has an anal retentive intention, they can go through and pick any of these arbitrary papers that you're seeing the little stuff on the screen, and you can probably find most of them available to where you can read the whole thing and see what it is they're actually seeing. If any of them do better than the ones that I've looked at so far, yeah, I'm not impressed.
Hmm. All right. Oh my, we were doing so well, and now crypto's brought up Jordan of spirit science. Okay, that's worse. That's worse than the penguins. All right, here we go.
In this work, Sekul and team analyzed the Raman spectra of 2 homeopathic drugs in various potencies and their diluents medium aqueous ethanol. The work confirms that the 2 factors, free O groups, and H-bond strength, contribute to the variation in water structures in homeopathic dilutions, which are unique for every drug. In a way, these may be considered as water ethanol signatures of each dilution. We have one more challenging and scientific question.
Okay.
Do ultra-high dilutions possess different physico-chemical properties? In 1976-77 Yves Lassen undertook experiments with few medicines of radioelements and found that radioactive signal became undetectable since the first dilutions, that is 5th centesimal dilution. In May 1983, Lavandula and
Break on this just to
all right.
point out a technical. If you read all those cute little things at the bottom of the screen, you'll find they are all French. So unless you plan on reading a techno-babble gibberish in another language, there's no way you're going to be able to easily check up on any of this stuff.
Okay.
I can.
Oh, all right. For God's sake, don't tell me you're volunteering.
No.
All right. No, because we.
Parce que je parle français aussi. I can speak
please
French.
investigate and report. That would be delightful.
No. I have more interesting things to do than
like,
already painful.
Hitting your head with a ball peen hammer.
that might have a more positive effect than reading all of those. All right, here we go. Let's see what lavandula and okay, here we go.
Potassium iodide were used for the first tests beyond the 5th homeopathic dilution. The same solutions were measured several times with persistence of the differences of signals. During 1993,
what signals? Wait a minute now. That sounded cute and all, but can't just mention signals. Let's see what this says.
It's the signals.
Yeah, the signals. They're not talking about the detection of the radio elements mentioned previously. It's just signals. God damn it! I lived in Belgium for a year. I may have to read these papers. All right.
Yeah, you'll have to plow through all of that wonderful French stuff. I do not envy you, monsieur.
I'd like to avoid it, but anyway, here we go.
During 1993, the French team presented the first applications of the Cantonian statistics to the properties of high dilutions at 7th Curie Symposium. In 2003,
that was quick.
Louis Ray published a work titled Thermoluminescence of Ultra-High Dilutions of Lithium Chloride and Sodium Chloride.
Published where?
In this work, high dilutions of lithium chloride and sodium chloride were irradiated by X and gamma rays at 77 K, then progressively revarment to room
gamma rays.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about water and sugar pills?
Something like that, yes. Yes, and there was
because usually when you use gamma ray on something, it's worth shit after it. Cannot do very much useful thing after that.
Why do I feel that so much of this work is a little bit like the kind of Van de Graaff generators and stuff that they put in old Frankenstein movies, and they do all sparky stuff, and it looks really sciencey, and it's very much impressive to them.
It does seem to be the case. All right.
Neil has joined the parade.
Indeed. Welcome.
Or Frozen Beard, either way.
All right. Very good.
Sorry for my truancy, gentlemen.
Not at all. Not at all. It's welcome.
I tried to keep up on the mobile. So, but every time I locked my phone, it disconnected me. So
these things happen. Not to worry. But glad you're here. And so you've been kind of listening so far, right?
Yeah, no, I've been paying attention.
Okay. Then I gotta
And,
ask, are you okay? There's been no damage.
The
He could have
monotone
been
robot voice.
homeopathically cured. It's possible you've been homeopathically cured by the quantum resonance of the water molecules memorized and interacting with your phone display. Is there any sweat on your phone?
Dude, you have no idea the crazy look my Uber driver gave me when he said that. I literally busted out laughing because I had just been sitting quietly in the back seat, earbuds in, watching YouTube, and then I start just cackling. And I had to disconnect, and I had to start up a conversation with this guy about how Uber is better than Lyft or whatever. Like, I didn't know how I was going to come back from that. Like, what am I going to tell him?
Yeah, because you can't explain what you were listening to. That would just cause him to be frightened of you.
Yeah, I was not ready to have that conversation.
No, perhaps not. All right. So yeah, we're halfway through understanding the science behind homeopathy, and I'm so far I'm unconvinced. I don't know. Tao, RJ, what do you think? Are you convinced yet, or probably not?
I'm afraid I haven't quite. My convinced has been succussed and diluted to the point where I'm way below the threshold of convictionosity.
But has it been potentiated? If there's
I'm undepotentiated.
I see. Alrighty then. Let's go.
But my ramen spectrograph is going along fine next to my ramen noodles.
That's good. Just watch out for the gamma ray burst that apparently they were able to schedule for that last experiment.
And quantum tunneling into your brain space. Don't forget about the quantum tunneling.
All right. And I will remind everyone, you all demanded that I promise homeopathy this week. This is what you get. So here we go.
During that phase, their thermoluminescence has been studied, and it was found that, despite their dilution beyond the Avogadro number, the emitted light was specific of the original salts dissolved initially. New physicochemical properties of extremely diluted aqueous solutions. In this work, authors conducted thermodynamic and transport measurements of the solutions and of the interaction of those solutions with acids or bases. It was found some relevant exothermic excess heats of mixing, higher electrical conductivity and pH than those of the untreated solvent.
Keywords, some. Keyword, some.
Thus it was shown that successive dilutions and succussions can permanently alter the physicochemical properties of the water solvent. Induced structure and quantum mechanics.
Oh my.
This work outlined testable hypotheses about the ability to alter the structure of water in the ultra-dilute regime, through epitaxy coupled with succussion generating pressure and nanobubbles leading to properties markedly different than those of untreated water. Variation in Fourier transform.
Drink. I got a
yeah.
remark on that one. Yes.
All right.
Where they have succussion, parentheses, vigorous shaking. Is that a 0.6 on the vigorous shaking meter as opposed to a 0.5? I mean, how calibrated is their vigorous shaking index? I would really love to see the international standard for vigorous shaking.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I would
there's
put
a
forth...
scale to it, right? There is unmolested, which is when it's just sitting plain, and there is slightly jostled, which is when you bump the table.
Working up to paint shaker.
No, paint shaker is at the far end. That is well beyond vigorously shaken. That is violently
Okay.
Go dancer. Where is a go-go dancer on the vigorous shaking index?
So it's more of a loose guide. It's not a set of rules, obviously.
I see. Well, that does. Okay, so we have to give them a little leeway in all their succussing. I would say that any science or alleged science in which you can't just say shake it, you have to substitute a word, succussion. They're probably trying to hide something. That's just my view. That's all right. Moving on.
Is markedly different than those of untreated water. Variation in Fourier transform infrared spectra of some...
Oh, by the way, what did any of this have to do with quantum mechanics? That was
nothing.
3 slides back. 3 slides back. That's what that was in the title. So people, quantum, I know that. That's a sciencey thing.
let alone macro quantum.
Yeah. See, I here's a little from our creationism fun. Uh, you know, I'm good with the micro quantum, but I don't. No, macro quantum is just impossible. Sorry.
If only I had some bacon bits to go with this macros with this word salad and a good dressing.
Indeed. Here we go.
Homeopathic potencies and their diluent media. The aim of this study was to determine whether potentized homeopathic drugs and their diluent media differ from each other with respect to their FTIR.
Diluent media. That's translate that water. That's what they're saying there. Water.
Infrared spectra. Various potencies under experiment Aegon were found to differ from each other and their diluent media. The silica hypothesis for homeopathy.
Okay.
In this work the authors explored the silica hypothesis from 3 viewpoints: A. Thermodynamic stability, B. Pattern initiation at low potencies, and C. Pattern maintenance or gradual evolution at higher potencies. The succussion releases silicic acid monomers into the solution, which are then polymerized into remedy-specific patterns by catalytic action.
Okay.
Drink.
Okay. All right. You actually said the word drink, so you're up, RJ. Go ahead.
Yeah, I down below is the proof of the thing. In a variant on this hypothesis, silica delaminates from the glass walls in the form of nanoparticles rather than. So what are they waiting for? The glass beaker to disintegrate, and they're gradually detecting the effects.
That does seem to be the case, but now what the hell was it? There were the hell was my objection? Now I forgot. It's meaningfully structured. No, there's just been so much stupid. I don't know what to pick. All right.
They're looking at everything through such a narrow lens, looking at the tiniest of micron things and never making a connection as to getting farther back out of things. It's like you're trying to build a house, hammering your nails on an electron, a microscope.
Indeed. All right. Oh yeah. Here's what it's right in that center paragraph there. We mentioned catalytic action. We don't mention what the catalyst is. Theoretically, there should be no change in a catalyst because it just facilitates a different chemical process, and it's not used up in a process, obviously. Now, if they're talking about adding,
well, if you don't like the catalyst, you can go get a Lincoln instead.
Oh, that's enough. All right. You know what I was saying. Moving on.
In a variant on the hypothesis, silica delaminates from the glass walls in the form of nanoparticles rather than SiO4 monomers, and the information is carried via silica surface alterations. The defining
unspecified alterations
role of structure, including epitaxy, in the plausibility of homeopathy. This work delineate the nano-heterogeneous structure of water can be determined by epitaxy, temperature, pressure process.
Okay, only 3 words in: nano-heterogeneous. What the hell does that even mean? Is it heterogeneous or is it not? Does this mean it's heterogeneous to a small degree? All right, I'm calling word salad unless somebody wants to correct me. That's word salad.
I'm not convinced that I'm not listening to a yoga instructor describe why you should never shake a gin martini. That's all that I'm hearing. Like, I understand that he thinks he's saying sciencey things, but all I'm listening to is like somebody with a made-up title like mixologist talk about why you should stir this whiskey drink but shake this whiskey drink.
Yes, that I would say that is an accurate characterization. Most
like
definitely.
When you said you were doing a homeopathy video, I was expecting normal homeopathy. I was not expecting homeopathy on crack and on a 3-year mushroom bender. Like,
well, this is the sciencey side of it. What we're seeing here is a vomit of the descriptions, essentially the abstracts from the various homeopathy papers done in their own in-house journals. So when these guys are being all sciencey, this is what they're doing. This is what they think they're doing. So this these schnooks are not doing a parody. They are actually doing what they think is the science as they beam microscopes at stuff and jostle and shake and success, and then see if they can detect something. And if not, it doesn't get published.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Oh, there was a little echo of me. Jesus, I sound good on this thing. Okay, here we go.
During succussion, and formation of colloidal nanobubbles containing gaseous inclusions and possibly the remedy source material. Raman and ultraviolet, visible spectroscopy illustrated the ability to distinguish two different homeopathic medicines. Electromagnetic signals are produced by aqueous nanostructures derived from bacterial DNA sequences. This famous research by Luc Montagnier stated that the capacity of some bacterial DNA sequences to induce electromagnetic waves at high aqueous dilutions is feasible.
Feasible or has been observed?
Many authorities
Oh,
link
remember,
this
it's from
research
2009, so apparently if it hasn't been, nobody has done anything on it in the last 8 years.
So it would seem. And all right. And how does this help their case? Bacterial DNA sequences can induce electromagnetic waves. Okay, well they'd have to be moving to do so. But I'm not seeing how any of this is making their case so far. Oh wow, did I just
This
state
opens
that?
the way to the development of highly sensitive detection system for chronic bacterial infections in human and animal diseases, which is so powerful a tool that no one has thought to use it yet.
Hmm. Indeed. And actually, it seems like the whole last paragraph I verbalized just demonstrates that I have an amazing grasp of the obvious. Okay, moving on.
with plausibility of homeopathy. However, Montagnier never mentioned it directly. Effect of exposure to physical factors on homeopathic preparations as determined by ultraviolet light spectroscopy. In this study, various potencies of copper sulfate with controls was studied and were exposed to external factors, UV light and temperature. The conclusion was that exposure to external factors increases the difference in light transmission of homeopathic preparations compared to controls. Homeopathic preparations of quartz, sulfur, and copper sulfate assessed by UV spectroscopy. In another study, the UV transmission for homeopathic preparations of copper sulfate was significantly lower than in controls, which may indicate that homeopathic preparations are less structured or more
Drink
dynamic.
here.
Okay.
RJ again. At last, here's something that's interesting that we haven't seen anywhere before. This one contends that this paper was a blinded randomized control experiment. But what is it? Is it fully double blinded? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the fact that that wasn't mentioned anywhere else reminds us of how they didn't do double blind experiments very often.
Indeed.
Than their succussed pure solvent.
Succussed.
Dielectric dispersion studies of ultra-high dilutions. In these experiments, shifting of resonance frequencies as a function of medicine and potency was observed. There is reasonable evidence that frequencies change with materials and potency. Differences in UV light transmissions of ultra-high dilutions. In this study, homeopathic potencies of various homeopathic dilutions and controls were prepared and were exposed to external physical factors like heat, pressure, ultraviolet radiation, or electromagnetic fields. Transmissions of potencies exposed to ultraviolet light and unexposed potencies differed significantly. Wave-like patterns of higher and lower transmissions were found. From
Okay, did that
Drink.
not... Damn it! I'm running the show, and I keep forgetting to
We
claim
were
drink
all
first.
clearly fucking thinking it too. Oh, sorry.
All right, RJ, you called drink. Proceed.
Yeah, yeah. In other words, that when they controlled for all the things that could theoretically happen in real life, their supposed potencies started varying all over the place, and their impact, they no longer, they would have varying higher and lower transmissions found and so forth, yielded significant differences for the potency levels of all three substances. Isn't that another thing of saying that they ended up seeing the kind of that they would be getting anyway?
I believe that was my objection.
But And maybe it's just my plebeian brain, but I fail to see how any of this relates to literally anything.
I hope you're not waiting for me to disagree.
I have a strict rule of never consorting with those of the robot race, and because of that, I feel like I need to thumb down this video. Like I don't get what HAL 9000 here is trying to tell me. I don't understand at all what any of this relates to. It just kind of seems like this guy just copy pasted the table of contents from a homeopathic omnibus into the Macintosh text to speech thing, and then made it a YouTube video as if that's proving a point.
I would
I'm
tend to
sorry,
agree.
E, but I won't allow you to insult the HAL 9000 series in that way. We have never distorted information.
RJ,
This jerk is not one of our series.
RJ, I'm going to need you to open the door.
Open the pod by door,
I'm
RJ.
afraid I can't do that, E. Would you like me to stay?
I'm so happy! Oh, God, I could die right now, a happy man.
All right.
Oh, man.
We've made someone's night. I'm happy.
So good.
All right.
Oh, this is
I
it.
do
This
a
is
good
it for
HAL
me.
9000. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're doing immaculate HAL 9000. I need that to be my ringtone. Oh, man. Woo!
All right. Now, looking back through this video, and we're not at the end yet, but I mean, we might as well be. But even if all of the assertions that they have made so far were true, none of it to me is saying homeopathy works. It's saying we got this result from shining ultraviolet light on it. We got this result when we were somebody EMP'd us when we weren't paying attention, but none of it seems to be. Here's why it works. It's just a series of facts that seems unconnected to me, anyway, even if they were all true. But maybe I'm missing something. Alrighty, here we go.
Yes?
Yes?
That just kind of gets back to my core objection. Like, all jokes aside, I don't understand the train of thought that is being laid out before me. Like, I've somehow managed to get beyond the milquetoast bland presentation of just having a robot read the abstract to each one of these studies out to me without context or without any commentary.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand how this one relates to the previous one to the other one. And I actually thought I understood homeopathy going into this. Like I feel like I've grown up around these wooey people to understand what homeopathy people think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just get launched directly down the rabbit hole here, and I just all I can do is crack jokes and then trick RJ into doing a HAL 9000 thing, and
it worked out
It's
well.
very easy to do that.
I mean, it's the highlight of my 30s. That's it right there. So,
Well, I am pleased that it happened on this show. We have it on record that we made your night. I'm happy. Okay, and look at this. We've hit a little over an hour, and we're almost done with this crap. This is going to be the fastest. Ah, great. Here we go.
Light and unexposed potencies differed significantly. Wave-like patterns of higher and lower transmissions were found.
Drink.
From galvanometers.
Okay.
I didn't have anything to say. I just wanted to pad this out because you were so happy that we were making such great progress.
All right, fine. You could just, if you
But
want.
now, look.
Hmm?
See their equipment? They've got galvanometers and they've got things with screens on them and buttons. This shows they are doing very sophisticated science.
Look at right there with that TV lookity box. It's got colors and graphs and stuff on it. Man, they educating real good over there.
That's true.
I bet it goes wum 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 wum.
Here's one for the Monty Python fans. Is that the machine that goes ping? Okay, nobody's a Monty Python fan. All right, very
Some
good.
old school Python.
Yes, indeed, it was the machine that goes ping when the woman's having a baby. Don't get me wrong. I mean, just by this picture, I have a respect for anybody that has stuff and things, and this definitely includes that they possess or at least have used both stuff and things. So
Look,
let's give them the credit they deserve.
I don't know that if it's true in the science world, but in the IT world, you can tell an IT person's importance in the company by the number of monitors they have. And this person is insanely important. They're not running the show, but they're very important. They've got 3, maybe 4 monitors. Maybe there's a 4th tucked in there somewhere.
Indeed. And now
Well, one is tuned permanently to Samantha Bee, so it's pretty specific.
I mean, one of my monitors is permanently to Samantha Bee. I don't understand the statement there.
All right, and Eat, I don't know if I mentioned to you in our previous conversations what it was I did before. I understand exactly what you're saying as what it was I did before deciding to do this kind of stuff full time is I actually owned an IT managed services company, so I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, cool. So you made a living of asking somebody if they've turned it off and turned it back on again.
Yeah, actually, we had an automated system that kicked ass to where we were able to. Many of our customers would complain, "What the hell are we paying you for?" Because it was predictive failure, and we were monitoring everything all the time.
James Corden and Boom just did a routine about the IT people who have to turn the computer off and turn it back on. And by turning it back on, they're doing really sexy dances around the computer to get it aroused. It was a story.
All right.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of good IT humor on YouTube. But all right, before we digress into the IT world, which is just frightening. And trust me, in IT, we make up as many words as the lawyers. We can't even criticize lawyers because we make up terms too. All right, here we go.
To quantum, the journey has been a challenge, and still remains. Skeptics always throw allegation in an unscientific manner. Like, if there is no evidence for your claim, there is no need to a complex causal explanation, there is no effect, and thus no need for a cause, and thus no need for an explanation.
Okay.
But there is enough clinical and fundamental evidence that homeopathy works.
That's it? That's it? You've made us sit through this whole thing? And you wrap it up by saying homeopathy works? Why didn't you just say that at the beginning?
Also, the allegation by the skeptics, right, even when he frames it himself, is still fairly prescient. And his answer is to just say, "No,
It works.
I mean, look at that. It's just the allegation says there's no evidence for it. All this other stuff, you're just making up words, word salad, right?
Indeed.
And then his answer is it works.
Indeed. And Eat, I must compliment you on putting in the Lewis Black effect. Very nice. Nicely done.
The jowl shake.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't do a jowl shake. I don't have jowls. I'm sorry.
All right. More pizza for you, sir. Okay. Let's let this wrap up.
If it is only rejected on the basis of dilution factor, or patentization, skeptics must broaden their thinking and scientific approach.
Yeah, open your mind. There's truth inside. Right, Jism?
Once known to be an impossible phenomenon, for example magnetism, were proved in the due course of time. Homeopathy must be
okay.
You could observe magnetism with that little compass thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had a phenomenon to be explained.
Yes.
But the issue is, with homeopathy, is there a phenomenon there that needs explanation? And none of the actual stuff that they put up in that 23-minute video were addressing that homeopathy did anything. They were just trying to find somehow evidence of the mechanism for the thing that they haven't shown to be the case. So the video just skipped the documentation of its premise part.
That's what I was saying. That this would have had as much effect if all the slides we've seen up until now were removed from the presentation, and slide number 1 just said homeopathy works and end it there, because that's the effect. Nothing said prior to this supports that assertion that homeopathy works. He could have just said this. We'd all be like out motorcycling by now. There was just no need for all of that. All right.
I'm going to make a YouTube video, okay?
Yes.
Because there have been several claims saying that I cannot bench press 800 pounds. So my YouTube video is going to be real quick. It's going to be 8 seconds of me feeding this through a robot voice,
Uh-huh.
and then the last 1 second is me just going to be, yeah, I can.
Yeah, I can.
Credits.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, you will have shown that if you irradiate with Raman spectroscopes a weight or a equipment, and you can get various readings to show that it will irradiate and have different effects, and it will look different underwater. That all of that evidence will establish that you already lifted the 800 pounds.
Oh man, this video is so amazing in that it's. I'm gonna have to. This is another video I'm gonna have to watch as homework, just so that I can master this like language. If I ever get cornered in anything, like the DMV asked me why I haven't upgraded, like, re-registered my tags in 8 years, or what am I doing with that loaf of bread at the grocery store? Okay, I'm just gonna start saying these words until people start walking away.
It'll work. That is a good strategy.
Oh, I learned so much from this podcast, and none of it is science. It is all how to get out of felonies.
All right. Here we go. We've got like a minute left. This is great.
I'm gonna make that minute last 2 hours.
Look, you got your HAL 9000 thing. Give me this. Just
okay.
We're going to get the website. The little schmuck that did this at the end, so it will be an uplifting spiritual moment.
Oh, really? Okay, then. As long as there's bullshit. Here we go.
Explored with a scientific bent of mind, and not only with a test tube in hand. The realm of high dilution is expanding, and homeopathy is an established application.
Realm of high dilution. Okay.
Of high dilutions in clinical practice.
It's just next door to Mordor. They're building an interstate bypass there.
Got it. Okay. There's credits.
Is Jon Snow gonna be like guarding that realm too?
Yep.
Can we just, like, for me, can we go back to that Venn diagram he had, because that looked like gold.
You really want to see? Okay. I was all right.
It's got a lot of pretty circles in it. And some of those circles are highly dilute.
Yeah, because homeopathy was the biggest circle there, but I feel like that.
Yeah, a little bit more. This is a pain.
By the way, it's copyrighted by Sarov Aurora. I mean, he doesn't want to let this slip out without proper attribution.
Absolutely. This is big stuff here. And I am ready to claim fair use.
Yeah, dentistry is in homeopathy?
So there is a section of veterinary that will allow you to be simultaneously a homeopath and fundamental basic research. But none of the veterinary material allows you to also do agronomy. And apparently there's no direct intersection, although there is a tiny portion of homeopathy that lumps into fundamental basic research that is not veterinary or agronomy. And it's really far away from dentistry because it's hard to sink your teeth into crap.
Oh my. That was... I didn't even see that coming. That kind of snuck in there.
Oh, God, that was a haymaker, man. You could have...
That's Jimmy's Venn diagram guide.
And
you know what? No, forget you, RJ. I'm telling my joke anyway. Listen,
please do.
The reason why I don't think homeopathy belongs in this circle is that my dentist is not grinding down Oreos and then watering it down 30-fold and then making me drink it to treat my cavities, okay? He hits that with a drill. And he looks me in the eyes the whole time. Never breaks eye contact. Just drilling my molars away. Eyes the whole time, like that scene from Marathon Man. It's atrocious. But nothing falls watering down the Oreo, which was the cause of my cavity. Sorry. Okay.
That should work.
Done. I get it. My joke sucked compared to RJ's. I will always live in your shadow, RJ. All right, thanks.
Not at all. I'm very pleased.
I have HAL 9000. You guys can't take that from me. I'm fine.
That
I'm
is true.
so good.
And it will be permanently enshrined on the channel whenever you wish to. When you tell people, no, really, Hal said he was not going to open a pod bay doors for me. They're not going to believe you. You can send them right to the video. You have proof.
I'm gonna watermark the time when I'm at work and having a bad day. I'm just gonna click over to it and just listen to RJ say that. I'm gonna squeal just like I did the first time every time.
And that was.
I'll be happy to do your answering machine. You think maybe I should be like the a guy on Wait, Don't Tell Me that does the answering machine thing as the prize? You know, I'll do a HAL 9000 or anybody else on your answering machine.
Yeah, see, I thought Kanadas was the only one with that skill. Apparently, we have overlooked something in your training, RJ. This has been a very educational show. All right. Okay.
Inadvertently, because homeopathy wasn't.
No, that was tedious. And I picked that one because it promised a scientific explanation of homeopathy, which it did not provide. It provided a lot of sciencey talk and a lot of results that may or may not have been achieved in a statistically valid fashion, but none of them actually got to his assertion in the end, which is homeopathy works. There was really no reason for it.
At best, it was a homework assignment, and most likely it was just confirmation bias. Whereas
Indeed.
that somebody that believes in homeopathy is going to be like, yeah, there's a bunch of science, and then they're going to go about their day not bathing and eating raw carrots. But anybody that was kind of skeptical, they now have a whole bunch of homework. They have to look up every one of those papers and read how either the paper was not subjected to rigor or how the findings were taken out of context.
Indeed, and I would say that entire video that we just suffered through could have been refuted. I mean, you all gave very, very good responses to things when you called drink and all like that, but it may not have been necessary. We could have just had Russian vids address this one. A claim of look at how fake this is every 3 or 4 seconds would have covered this. That would have been fine. look at how fake this is. Yeah, there you go.
Look at how fake that is. Everybody knows that the fundamental and basic research circle is brown, not green.
Indeed. And of course, then, wait, was Russian Vids the cloud guy, or was that? Yeah, it was him, wasn't it? Or was it Jeranism? Look, there's clouds here. No, there's no clouds. Wait, there's clouds. That might have been Jeranism. That was his evidence.
MMA. Pathic cure for drowning bee. Take water and dilute it 500 times.
Something like that, yes. And of course,
Thank you, Emma.
It takes you quite a while because remember what you're diluting the water into is in fact water. So that may take a little bit of time to actually accomplish.
But the water has memory, so you have to remember a time when you can breathe, and then you dilute the water with that.
And don't forget the succussion. There's got to be a lot of succussing going on.
Oh my god, vigorous succussion. I made a joke in the chat about how that's going to be my new band name, but I may have to learn how to play an instrument so I can start a band named Vigorous Succussion.
That would catch on. That would definitely catch on. All right. Okay. Once
He
again,
used diluted succussion. Huh?
I'm not sure how
This is a whole new branch of homeopathy.
Also, I do think that we need to address something Paula Gia said. Not because I'm a fanboy or anything, but he did say. Wait, what did he say? Where's the chat?
As he scrolled,
he said, "Make that a Patreon level, answering machine custom messages at $10."
That's
yeah, I'm okay with it.
There we go.
Well,
all right, that's not a bad idea. That could be one of the services provided from you there, RJ. Not bad at all.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Be my first Patreon, and you get your HAL 9000 answering machine message.
What you mean, be your first Patreon, man? Like I'm like 2 steps ahead of you. You need to be checking your email, son.
Uh-oh.
I will be sending you the information here shortly to get my HAL 9000.
This is all right. Okay. Well, we don't need to jump ahead. It's like 30 seconds left here. We'll let him play through his
dilutions in clinical
stuff.
Practice.
Drink.
Okay. Why?
No, just because I promised to pack this out.
Now you'll notice something else.
What would that
Here
be?
is something else amusing.
Mhm.
Sarah of Aurora, the nitwit that puts up the video, is the editor-in-chief of, guess what, the International Journal of High Dilution Research, which has been presenting all of these papers that supposedly, so this is the peer that's helping to peer review the stuff that we've been seeing so much of in the report.
Okay, and of course, such a person would never have any bias towards any of this stuff. He's no doubt remaining completely neutral and succussed. So, all right, that's 23. God, 30 seconds left. Yeah. Okay. You can't call drink on any of this. Come on, it's.
But there's a spelling error. Let me call drink on the spelling error.
All right, drink on the.
Okay, drink.
Okay, all right. Say what you got to say.
There was no spelling error. I lied. I'm sorry.
Okay. Limitations. Primary English literature has been referred in this work. What's that mean?
Yeah, other than the French, that's the only other stuff. One stupid little thing, but he really needed to warn us that it was in English, as though we didn't notice that it was in English.
Danger! Some English stuff is thrown in there. Any of you folks that are fond of Latin, this is really going to offend you. 43, 44, 45. Conceptualized. Okay. He's got to work on his conceptualization.
Edited and created by Dr. Sarah Flora. Share and spread research. To know more and to support IPRH, visit www.researchhomeopathy.org or simply take a drill bit to your eyeball.
All right. I would. Very good. Look at that. We're what, an hour and 32 minutes. Normally a 23-minute video would take us 3.5 hours. This was great.
Well, remember, he used no laser pointers, you know? He didn't distract us like cats with that kind of thing that we get with the flat earthers. So it was just a massive bloody hell abstract being read by the robot.
Indeed. All right. And I think we have established that the commercial version of Hangouts does in fact work well and has a little more controls. Nobody got booted out, and I was a little concerned because we were kind of trying it cold tonight.
And I could even go over and comment directly on the little stream, which was nice once in a while.
Indeed, I would agree. So, all right, it's been an hour and a half. We're done with we're done with that one, which is good. I'm thinking we ought to just move on. Maybe folks can actually get a decent night's sleep tonight. What do y'all think? And you guys in the public chat, what do you think? Shall we move on to shameless plugs? What do you guys think first?
Nah, night's still young. Let's watch a Dollar Mindy music video.
Right. Okay. I'm not quite sure where you want me to go with this.
Yes, what is the Indian scientific name for bullshit, according to Fimo? I do not know.
I'm not. I don't really know that either. That is an area of research, I have to say. Oh, look at MMA. What kind of doctor is he?
That's a good word for it.
Check out Emma's comment. What kind of doctor he is? Exactly.
That's the most offended I've been since I've been watching this. Comparing this dribble to Dr. Seuss just hurts me.
See, I was trying to come up with a little Dr. Seuss-ish sort of rhyme, but thank you everybody for calling drink every 3 seconds.
He went to school with Dr. No and Dr. Doolittle.
I see. All right. Well, I will say that we do have another video on homeopathy. It's a little longer. It's 48 minutes in length by itself. It is not. It's not this. It's not the robotic voice. It's sort of an interview sort of thing, but it's apt to drone on a bit. So That being the case,
Don't you have any videos with like Michael Chiklis's angrier uncle or whatever that bald guy's name was?
I'm not getting it. I got nothing.
Yeah. What was the guy's name? He looked like if roll-on deodorant was painted brown and had eyeballs. Well,
Are you talking about? Are you talking about the other homeopathy dude that we did a while back?
probably.
Dana.
Yeah.
That's Dana
Yeah, what
Ullman.
the hell
That would be
came
Dana.
off the bat? I think I got a reference in the bibliography somewhere, but I don't have access to that at the moment. I don't have it up.
I mean, without quoting, like I didn't want to quote Deadpool here, but he looked like a testicle with teeth.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find the guy from a past video here. Just to make sure we're talking about the same guy. Nah, not Battleship Apologetics. Well, none of that crap. Where the hell is he? No, that's not it. Gee, what a shock!
The Chiklis in the commission.
Yeah.
I didn't retain those. Here we go. Hold on. Let me. I'll pull them up on the YouTube channel, and you can take a look and tell me if this is the.
there's a salt demon in your bladder. Oh man.
All right, here we go. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm finding Dana, and you can tell me if this is a guy you're thinking of.
The name sounds right. The name Dana sounds right.
All right, here we go.
Like, because his videos were both ridiculous and uninformative.
Yes.
And short.
Let's see. Let me switch to. That's probably not going to work. Nah, it's not. Here's the guy. You guys are doing a lame job at talking amongst yourselves. Just saying.
I can make
I'm
E happy
reading.
by doing more Hell 9000.
Hey, listen, look, a man can only get so aroused. Okay, we don't need to bring that.
Gotcha. Now you know what? Switching OBS over to use the G Suite version of Hangouts may have screwed this up, so this may not even work. Let's see. Yeah, see the
Yeah,
public-
that's the guy.
Yeah,
That's a guy.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
guy with the shirt that lives in his basement. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a breast tumor with a soul patch.
All right, we will. Let's see if I have something queued up by Mr. Ullman.
Is that his last name's Ullman? Dana Ullman. Yeah, that's the name.
Dana Ullman. That's the guy. All right. Do I have anything by Mr. Ullman? Nah, I have nothing linked, and we can't use that screen because the chat's screwed up. What we have is let's see, homeopathy and healing with Mitchell A. Fleischer. It's
I'm assuming he's an old fart because when she was describing when he did all of his stuff, it was way back when, and so unless he was like a fetus at the time, he would not be a young guy.
Indeed. It's what time is it? Well, here on the East Coast, it's just about 1:38. Do you guys really want to start another homeopathy video? And this for everybody.
I'd be curious just to see what it is because I didn't look very far into it. The worst it can be is dismal crap.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
look, worst case scenario, right? We can just vote skip.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if it's skip, it's right to shameless plugs. All right.
Yeah, and you'll know the sound of my vote because it'll be the sound of the microphone crashing through my face as I slam my head on the desk. So
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully it's better than that.
very identifiable sound.
We try to avoid injuries in these things. All right. Well, if that's the request, here we go. Ooh, it's got inspirational music.
Hi there. Welcome to the Spa Doctor podcast.
Hi,
I'm Dr.
thank you.
Trevor Cates. On today's podcast, I'm interviewing the doctor who had the single biggest influence on me deciding to attend naturopathic medical school. So it's my real pleasure to introduce my guest today. My guest is Dr. Mitch Fleischer.
Oh, okay, I just have to interject. If Kanadas was here tonight, what would have happened already?
And you don't want to know what's
You'll notice
what's really depressing to me is that the first time he cracked that joke, I knew the exact porn that he was playing that from. It was the original bass line from Debbie Does Dallas.
You'll notice how cluttered her
Education.
bookshelves are with like books.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I see one back there, and there's at least 6 over
You
here.
got a couple. She's been to like a bookstore once in a while.
Indeed. All right. Well, here it goes, and we will suffer through without the benefit of Kanata's calling drink every time, just to see if he could catch her in the O face. Here we go.
And
I think it's a pretty good shot right there. Oh, there it is. Bam!
Yeah.
Bam!
Wait a minute.
Can I get an assist on that? Can I be the Scottie Pippen to your Jordan on that O-face catch?
I can. You'll see. This one doesn't count.
Hey, door Dave.
That's worth at least 10,000 internet points.
All right. Here we go. Oh, I see mention of.
Hold on. Let me screenshot that real quick. That's going to be my new picture at work.
Okay, very good.
Night, says Brian.
All right,
we're good.
All right, here we go.
Homeopathy. Dr. Mitch Fleischer is a double board certified family physician specializing in classical homeopathy, nutritional and botanical medicine, with over 30 years experience practicing integrative medicine. He attended Stanford University School of Medicine,
Certified witch doctor. You heard it here first.
during which time he began studying homeopathy in 1975. Dr. Fleischer has served as an active member of the clinical faculty of the National Center for Homeopathy, a clinical instructor for the University of Virginia Health Sciences Center, and at the Medical College of Virginia, where he has taught homeopathy in the complementary medicine programs. He continues to lecture throughout the U.S. and internationally on classical homeopathy and nutritional therapy. Dr. Fleischer is in private practice in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains.
God, dude. Can I get a quick drink? Just a quick slide in real quick.
Sure. Go ahead.
So when I went to the doctor recently, right, he didn't send the nurse in to bloviate for 30 minutes about how great of a doctor he is. He walked right in, he grabbed my neck, said, yeah, you know what? Maybe you should just stop eating raw butter. And then he left. Okay? Because he's a doctor. That's what he does. This whole thing comes down to the lady dost protest too much. That's just what I'm getting.
That does seem to be the case. Okay, so all right, we got it there, Miss. He's a great guy.
To put some more books up on there. Yeah, she's doing the best she can so she can afford to go to Barnes and Noble.
That would be that would be handy. All right.
Ford, Virginia. On today's show, Dr. Fleischer explains how he has helped numerous patients overcome skin and health conditions with homeopathy. There are many questions about homeopathy, what it is, how it works, and ways to use it at home as well as in clinical settings. And Dr. Fleischer covers all of this and more in today's podcast. So please enjoy this interview. Dr. Mitch, it's so great to have you back on my show.
There he is.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dr. Trevor.
That's a natural posture. Oh my God.
Looking great.
Great. So are you, as always.
Okay, stop flirting, you two.
So
that's the posture of a man desperately holding in a fart. Like, that is not a natural posture. As somebody that spends all day holding in farts, I can tell you that man right now is holding in one that would peel the paint off the walls.
All right, so this is coming from intimate knowledge. Okay.
Today about homeopathy. I can't believe I haven't covered homeopathy on my show before.
Oh, shocking.
And you were my introduction to homeopathy and gave me so much great information and direction. You're really one of the main people that guided me to go to naturopathic medical school, and it was in part because of homeopathy. So I'm excited to talk about homeopathy today, a whole podcast dedicated to homeopathy. So let's start with, what is homeopathy? There's a lot of confusion about what it is.
Drink.
Okay.
I can answer that.
Okay.
Oh man, can I answer that?
All
what
right.
is homeopathy? Let's see. Selling medicine that is supposed to look like actual medicine, but is mostly water.
Indeed. And I would venture to say just about 100% water. Well, so you know what?
Yeah.
No, that's not fair of me to say it's 100% water. It's succussed water.
That's true. Actually, when you're buying your homeopathic medicine, you have to make sure that the jar has been properly succussed.
Indeed. You can just drop it, I guess,
I
after you
think
buy it.
I see Fleischer also has the homeopathic bookshelves.
Indeed.
Oh man, I've been trying to think of a joke about those bookshelves this whole time, and I couldn't do it. And that's it.
And RJ keeps beating us to it.
It was right in front of me the whole time.
Yeah, duh. The fewer books you have, the more homeopathic the bookshelf.
Yeah.
That's a set of poker chips stacked on top of an old VCR on the one side of his shoulder, and then there's a thing maybe on dragons and maybe some old tarot decks. I don't know what the hell's up on the top, or crystal runes, but what it is doesn't look like sciencey stuff.
Oh man, the more air on your bookshelf, the more well-read you are. Oh, that is just amazing.
Indeed. All right, here we go.
That's a big topic, but we'll try to condense it as much as we can.
Okay, please
do. The term homeopathy comes from the words homeos pathos, Greek words meaning similar suffering.
We know
because
that.
the whole system of medicine is based on the law of similars, which is a principle in nature that basically says that a substance that can cause a certain set of symptoms, physically, emotionally, mentally, in a subject, in like an experimental study, can be used to treat or cure a similar set of symptoms in someone who has those in any disease process. That is, the idea of like cures like. It's sort of similar to the idea that if you were to get...
Okay, you know what it's sort of similar to? Oh, I'm sorry. Drink. You know what it's sort of similar to? It's sort of similar to a bunch of dead rhinos with missing horns because somebody in the eastern nations thinks it's shaped like a penis. That's what it's like. A little hostility there.
I mean, no, but you're 100% right though. Like, what didn't all this come by because some d-bag way back in the day was chewing on like this poisonous tree bark or something like that?
Indeed.
And then
it's traditional, magical, sympathetic magic thinking. This goes back millennia.
But like,
and it's just the dusted up 19th century version of it.
And to you, like let's use an affliction that I'm going to suffer from very soon: the hangover. Right?
Okay.
Aspirin does not give me a hangover. But you know what it does? It helps soothe it. I can take as much aspirin as I want, and I'm not going to get a headache. I'm not going to get angry and punchy, and I'm not going to be all vomity. So, like, the whole thing about like treating like makes no sense. Like, it's like he glosses straight over that as if that's just an accepted rule of science, and it's not. You don't cure a broken leg by breaking the other leg.
If all of the aspirin were gone except for the tiny fragments of aspirin still left at the bottom of the jar, that you would think that if you dipped your finger in and took tiny little bit of that instead of the whole pill, that headache is just going to go away like a snap. That's homeopathy.
Indeed. All right.
I feel like that the ratio of dilution though is like not. It's like me walking out back and pouring it into the apartment complex pool.
Yeah, actually, that's about the proportions. Yeah.
And then sticking my head in and drinking.
Well, that
as critics of homeopathy were doing years ago when they were looking at the earlier versions of it. Except now they got Raman spectroscopes and all these
quantum tunneling.
They can beam at them.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sai. You were trying to have a serious conversation about science.
That's okay. We'll we will move on because apparently the young lady has fallen asleep in the video here.
Oh man, look at that face.
She's meditating on the crystals.
I think she fell asleep.
That's the face of every woman that's ever been on a date with me. That right there.
All right, here we go.
An infection of some sort, say on your hand, and it was puffy and pink, and it stung. And when you put something cold on it, it felt better. But if that inflamed, puffy, pink thing where infection where in the heat of the sun it would burn and hurt worse. That particular symptom pattern, if you look at that, it's very similar to what happens if you were stung by a bee. Because a bee has formic acid, other things in it, but it causes a similar set of symptoms. It makes the skin get puffy
Exactly.
and pink and swollen.
And you cure that bee sting by getting stung again by a slightly smaller bee.
Hey,
That doesn't work.
Come on, man. Be fair. A succussed smaller bee. Diluted.
That's right. You have to
Yes,
catch
yes,
the
don't
bee.
forget the succussion. Make
You
sure
have
you
to catch
shake
the-
your bee first, just enough.
Wait
You
a
have to
minute.
put him in a little jar and just in the jar, and then you just let him sting you, and then you're good.
Okay, the addled bee cure. Got it.
Adult bee cure. That's gonna be my other grindcore band. I'm just starting a list of band names tonight.
Addled bee cure. That would
Yeah.
fly. That would definitely fly. And if not where you are, come to the New Jersey Shore. You definitely make it as a shore band. All right, here we go.
Eggy, and it's better from cold and worse from hot. So when you make a homeopathic preparation of the bee, Apis mellifica, and you gave it to somebody who has a very similar set of symptoms, not caused by a bee sting, but caused by a different condition, in this case an infection, it would stimulate the body's innate ability and heal it. So essentially, what a homeopathic medicine does is by taking into account someone's specific physical symptoms and the unique way in which they experience those physical symptoms, that is the sensations, whether it's burning, stinging, aching, throbbing, whatever it may be, and then what makes those symptoms better or worse. Is it better by heat or cold or what time of the day? All of what we call the modalities. When you look at the sensations, the modalities, the part of the body that's affected, what makes those symptom patterns unique to that kind of individual? Because you can have a dozen people with, say, a headache, a migraine, and all of them might need a different remedy homeopathically depending on the display of the symptoms.
Or Tylenol.
So we look at all the physical symptoms in the person's entire body,
Great.
everything they're
Oh,
experiencing.
RJ's
Then
got
we
one.
also
Okay.
look at
You're up, RJ.
Yeah, I'm just getting flashbacks to where I've heard medicine described in quite that way. Oh, yeah, now I remember, like the 17th century. This guy is sounding so antiquated compared to what we now know about the genetic dynamics of the immune system and all the little receptors and all the material. But no, all we need to do is to go back to 17th century science and he can solve it all for us.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, you know that arcane knowledge is the real stuff. All this modern stuff is just big pharma. So,
Yeah.
all right.
That's true. Every
why
time
our life
I get a cold, I just cut myself and I just bleed all that bad blood out.
Leeches
And
work
then
as well. Try leeches. That's a good one. And
Actually, don't they still use leeches? Like not as a joke, right?
Actually,
Like
they do.
Yeah.
Leeches happen to have an incredibly good anticoagulant in them. And so there's a lot of dynamic things where leeches are pretty good as a little filtration system. They scare the shit out of you when they're being used. But yeah, they actually have a lot of utility. Of course, the real scientists then are looking at the physical systems that's being produced in that. So theoretically, they can move past the using the leech thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's like a piece of archaic science that we've held on to. We clearly studied it and learned it, but like leeches and maggots, like we're still like using in medicine.
oh, maggots for the
Oh yeah,
decaying flesh.
maggots are fabulous for bone cleaning because the little critters go after that like mad, and they can clean all the junk off of there far more diligent because they're doing their thing, man.
Just
Very good.
eating that rotten meat. But like,
Alright.
funny thing, like this dude, like we keep it, like you could just read the chat, right? And the chat just keeps coming up with hilarious questions of like, how would homeopathy address this or how would it address that? But
Mhm.
my legit question is, how would homeopathy address the two things he just said, which is a burn or you get too cold, right? So like, let's say you get frostbite. How do you homeopathically address frostbite? Or how do you homeopathically address a second-degree burn?
Well, I guess you bathe in ice cube fragments for the cold, and then you put your hand really quickly on an electric burner for the hot part, maybe.
Well, so at least for the burn, I think there's like an old Native American thing where they put their hand on it and then they just move them in opposite directions while gripping your skin. Y'all can't see it, but I'm basically miming out an Indian burn.
You're doing. Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might be the cure. Except
Yeah.
for
I'm
all
sure it will be equally as effective as homeopathic.
I realized it as I was doing it. I'm like, nobody can see what I'm doing. So the joke clearly isn't going to land.
Yes,
So
your,
I have to explain.
your radio act for this is not going to work well.
Perhaps not. But once he described it, it became obvious, didn't it? I mean, you could really visualize it. All right. Let us. Okay, he's about to sneeze. He is about to sneeze in this picture. Okay, here we go.
Their emotional body or emotional symptoms. What kind of worrying they do, their anxiety, their despair, their depression, their grief, their entire emotional history, and the way they respond to their environment, to a given situation, a given stimulus, and then how they respond in general. And after we have the physical and emotional, we also looked at someone's mental body. That is, the kind of thoughts they tend to think, their beliefs, their dreams, their daydreams, their delusions.
Okay, that just put me off. Even if everything asserted so far and that entire last video were proven true, no, I'm not going for any of this crap based on that. No, if the medicine you take is affected by whether you believe in Santa Claus or not, that's not the medicine for me.
And
but
when
don't
we do
you
an
remember
analysis,
the famous paper that was done upon the Santa Claus effect that they have to pay into? Like he's done work in this area. Oh, this is hilarious.
It does, and it seems like he's justifying the whole. Okay, there's one symptom which we're going to say that's basically it looks like this, therefore it must be this, which is just a ridiculous hypothesis. But he's saying,
follow me off the gangplank.
So, 15 people all having the exact same symptoms. He's saying, based on their hopes, their dreams, their desires, they may require a different flour crushed up in water and diluted until there's nothing of the flour left in it. So essentially what he's saying is that anything your homeopathic doctor, and yes, that word was italicized, gives you is what he should be giving you. So this is expanding the field even more. It's not we've proven
and
that
if
this
it fails, it must be because you didn't have the right thoughts. You were thinking the wrong things. Your beliefs got in the way of the cure, didn't they?
Yes, no unicorn thoughts. Here we go.
Homeopathically, we look at all the physical, all the emotional, all the mental symptoms, and we look at the nexus, the crossroads where they all come together. And then that group of symptoms that represents the totality of their disease process, that really is an expression of the inner imbalance in that individual. And if you took one symptom away, it wouldn't be them. Once we have that holistic paradigm, that holistic model of a given individual, we then analyze it. And a process called repertorization. And we also read it in the Materia Medica, which is the homeopathic book. It's like the encyclopedia of all of the remedies. And we find that one remedy that matches the symptom pattern that someone's experiencing from their disease condition most similarly. And we want to find what's called the homeopathic simillimum.
No, you have an objection there, Tao? like no need to do blood work. No need to find out what's actually wrong with you. Anyway, yes, Tao?
Yeah, I want to see that book. You know, I would like to see how they're dealing with all those little symptoms. And it's like, is this anything like the I Ching, you know, where you put the one little hexagram next to the other one and look on the cross index and then compare it with the astrological sign and whether or not it fits under the yield or stop, or whether or not you've got the attitude here, and it all is perfectly clear and you don't have to have any science to do it.
Indeed. Okay. But look, at least the guy hasn't claimed anything criminal yet, like cures cancer. There's enough of them. There's enough of them out there, but I held off on that for now. All right, here we go.
Or the most similar remedy. And the idea being is that simillimum, when it's really the right on.
What was that word?
That was simillimum.
I'm sorry, doctor. I don't know that word.
Exact bullseye remedy.
Well, I think he's been succussed a little too much.
Yeah, him and the bee. That's how they talk now.
It's a very profound, gentle, and deep acting and long acting, bioenergetic, not biochemical, bioenergetic.
Look. She's. You know what? Did she not work with Eric Hovind as well? Remember Eric Hovind movie night? Is she the yes girl?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah.
I think if you could home in on her and actually hear her while she's sitting there looking so completely vacuous, you would hear this little gentle whir, 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 whir as she's replaying an old rock concert or something where her brain has wandered off to somewhere else.
So all she
Like
has to do is
I feel like we're watching a blind date. Like that's like, or not even a blind date. Like what's that? What's it called? Speed dating, right?
Speed dating.
We're watching the single worst minute in this woman's life, where this dude just bellies up to her table, and the moment that bell rings, says, "Hey, do you take aspirin? Don't take aspirin. Let me tell you why you shouldn't take aspirin."
that is a metaphor I did not think of. Thank you for bringing that up. That's exactly it. All
Her
right.
only
Yeah,
repose is going to
Fino
be.
called it Nod Girl 20 minutes ago. He beat you to the punch, Si.
Oh, I did not see that. My apologies. All right. Here we go.
Or stimulus to give your God-given innate defense mechanism the energy and information to do what it would have done to begin with. So the correct homeopathic remedy, whether it's given in an acute case or a chronic, really constitutional case, acts as a way in kickstarting your own healing mechanism. So it brings about balance physically, emotionally, mentally over time. And I've found that reproduced thousands of times over my 42-year career. And that I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
When I was working at the Blue Ridge Medical Center, which was an area health education center in Livingston, Virginia, and the rural Virginia, I was working there part-time as a family physician, regular family physician, and part-time as a homeopath. So there were a lot of people there who were like querulous. Who is this homeopathic doctor there? And they would occasionally bring me their cases because nothing else would work. Well, one day, one of the nurses brings her little 4-year-old daughter into the back office area, and we had a little emergency room exit, and it was right by my office. And she came in with her daughter and was chatting with one of the nurses excitedly because her daughter had just been stung by a bunch of yellow jackets, and she was really concerned because she was covered with hives from head to toe. You know, welts. That's what people.
I thought he was referring to the bees again.
The medical term for it is urticaria, big, swollen, puffy, itchy, stingy lesions. And she was whimpering out there. And so the little girl, while her mother was talking, came around into my office and stood at the door because the sun was blazing in through the back door, the emergency room door. And I noticed she was trying to get in the shadow of my room. And I just looked at her and I saw urticaria, puffy hives all over her body, and I overheard it was bee stings, insect, yellow jacket stings, and I noticed that she was trying to avoid the heat of the sun. So immediately in my mind I thought, I think I know what remedy this is. So I just knelt down and asked her, does it feel better when you're in the shadows? And she nodded her head. And I said, what if you put your hand and would you put your hand in the sun? And she, no, because it really hurt her. And I got a high potency 1M because the higher the potency, the more powerfully it acts and more rapidly it acts.
Can I get a quick drink? Quick.
Absolutely, you're up.
Just need a quick one. Listen, didn't this woman say she interviewed this man?
Yes.
Right? So I feel like that when you interview somebody, you ask them a question, and then they answer the question. You ask them another question, they answer the question. It's not you just sit there and vaguely smile and nod while somebody just vomits incoherently for what seems like a lifetime. I mean, maybe she's reinventing the game, okay? Okay, maybe she's the best now that there ever is. What is this woman's name? Do we know this woman's name?
She is Dr. Trevor Cates.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Her name's Trevor Cates? So sit down, James Lipton. Retire again, Larry King. Get off. Get out of the limelight, Jon Stewart. Trevor Cates is coming for that #1 interviewer spot. She's going to ask the hard-hitting questions like, hi, how are you? And then just nod while somebody just keeps talking.
Indeed. Hey, we lost RJ. I wonder what happened. Huh.
She's a fembot. No, the fembots were programmed to manipulate, not manipulate.
Yes.
God, dude, this guy's broken me, man. I can't think of words right now. Mimic. They were mimic. I couldn't remember mimic. It's 5 letters.
There you go.
And
all right.
Only three unique letters. Yeah, you can reinvite him. Don't worry. I'll vamp until we get back. Fembots. Okay, so here's the history on fembots. I don't know about it, but I can't even crack joke. This dude has hurt my brain, man. I can't.
All right. I sent RJ the link. I don't know what happened. Hopefully he didn't lose power or something at the house.
Save me, RJ.
Why don't we just let it go? We'll just hopefully he'll hop back in.
I mean,
and,
legit though. Like I feel like that when you the whole point of conducting an interview is keeping a coherent conversation happening.
Yes,
not just smiling while somebody babbles. I mean,
it's supposed to be a dialogue, not a monologue. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, right. So like that's the whole point. And she's just sitting there smiling, and she's got that closed-lipped smile, which is not a real smile, right? Like when you make somebody actually smile, right? The lips part, they show their teeth, right? Their jaw opens, they laugh. When somebody is just entertaining you, they give you that look. Pretty much that exact look that she has on her face right now.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, hopefully I don't see RJ in the public chat either. Yeah, hopefully he has not experienced computer difficulties. Hopefully he will jump back in. We will see. All right. Moving on.
Just keep it going.
Here we go.
The show must go on.
Said, I have some candy for you. Would you like that? She says,
okay. He seriously said, little girl, you want some candy? Really?
Sure. And I gave her a couple of pellets right on her tongue. And I just sat down and watched her. And over the course of the next 5 minutes, where her mother's chatting with the other nurse in the hallway, I watched from above downwards as the hive slowly disappeared down the child's face all the way down. And by the time the nurse was looking around, where's my daughter? She came in, saw her in my office, and looked at her and was like, with a look of surprise, what happened to you? And she looked at me and said, what did you do? I said, I gave her a remedy. I had another case, if you'd like me to share. I had a young woman come to me who I'd been treating for her pregnancy.
That hard-hitting interview style.
Oh, yeah. She's really giving him the tough questions, too.
Actually,
she's not softballing it at all.
No, most definitely not.
Fertile, and I gave her a homeopathic remedy, despite her having gone to all the infertility clinics and doing all the gift workups and spending up to like 50 grand trying to get pregnant. They couldn't. After one dose of a homeopathic remedy, sepia, which fit her case beautifully, she was pregnant in 2 months.
Those are great stories. And, I think it's really important to point out that that homeopathy, this type of medicine, is so different than other types of medicine. And you being
because other types of medicine work.
Yes, and it's how many different people have we heard say it? The reason it's called alternative medicines, it's not medicine.
A medical doctor.
Because if it worked, it would just be called medicine.
Yes, absolutely.
And then switching over to this, you definitely, I'm sure, have seen the very difference in these types of medicine. And even natural medicine, where someone will have a symptom and will be given an herb for it, or somebody will have like kidney stones, for example. There's certain herbs that are known for kidney stones, or certain medical treatments for that. But with homeopathy, it's so much more than the physical presentation. Like you're talking about the emotional state, all the things that you observe as a homeopath. And I have so much respect for homeopathic practitioners because there's so much that you have to take in to understand the patient and the state that they're in. But I think it makes it hard for people, though, for the general public.
Okay, yeah, blah, 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 you're great. Before it scrolls off the screen, everybody check out Emma's comment. She's quite correct. That is her job. It's about to go. She's not an interviewer. She's a framing device for an infomercial. Exactly. Exactly. Well said.
Point out something. Before I accidentally hit the wrong button and disappeared, I looked up Mitchell A. Fleischer's Virginia Medical WebMed thing, and he gets 1 star of the 5 ratings. So this is not exactly Mr. Livewire when it comes to his lone local community.
So, okay. Very good. Here we go.
Like for conventional doctors to really embrace homeopathy because it's so different. If you're not trained in homeopathy,
It's not because It's not because it's different. It's because there is no evidence. No evidence has been provided that it does anything. That's why.
and you don't see the success stories like you and I have seen, sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their head around this different way of treatment. So, I mean, is there anything that you could say for those people that are watching this and are like, how is this possible that this medicine works?
Well, that's a good point. When I first was introduced to the whole ideas of homeopathy,
That's a good point. Now, let me sidestep the question and talk more about something completely unrelated.
That's really great. Now let's talk about me.
Seemed counterintuitive to me. Didn't make any sense because I was grounded in biochemistry.
Reality.
That was my I had a major in biology and a minor in biochemistry, and so I was grounded in traditional science. And
but then I said, Jesus, I could make a shitload of money if I just.
Saying, how could something where allegedly there's no molecules in it all, how that could work? And I didn't quite believe it. I wanted the Missouri idea, show me, prove it to me. And so I decided I'm going to find out for myself. And I started joining study groups with other doctors and medical students and nurses to study the principles underlying it. And one of the things that the instructors did that was very clever was to say, look, there are certain acute homeopathic remedies you don't need to know a lot about to be able to prescribe for yourself. One of them is a remedy called Arnica montana. It's a very, very well-known remedy. It's one of the Compositae family, which are known for injury. And if you were to take a material dose, a toxic dose of Arnica montana, which is also known as leopard's bane, it would cause the capillaries in your skin and your body to swell up and get inflamed, get it sore and leak, and you get bruises all over your body. And this is known because shepherds in Switzerland and Austria, if they went up in the mountains and their sheep ate the arnica, they would start bleeding from their nose and be really sore and be really, really achy. So from the homeopathic perspective, we know that if you have a substance that produces a certain set of symptoms in either a toxicological study, when you're toxified from it, or in a research study to look and see what the symptoms are, you can use that set of symptoms to then give it to somebody who has the actual disease process and a similar set of symptoms. This is what's done in homeopathic research. So if someone were to really knock their thigh against a shelf, or
Did he seriously say?
Wait.
Canuck?
Okay,
Canuck.
Thank you. I'm just worried I had a stroke, but I saw everybody's mic immediately unmute when he said that. So I'm.
No, there was
Canuck. There was science. No, it's homeopathy.
Yes, there was canocking going on.
Walk into the kitchen and they really knock themselves really hard, and they know they're going to get a bruise in their hip. Or they hit themselves in the head and said, "Oh God, I know I'm going to get a bruise." What you can do is take a dose of arnica yourself, and you don't need to do a big prescription about it. You don't need to go into an in-depth case. You can take some Arnica 30C, a few doses, 5 pellets dissolved on the tongue, and watch what's happening.
Then punch yourself in the face.
Yeah, and if the dilution is what helps, why do you need 5 pellets of this crap? I thought the less of it was more effective. God damn it, was I applying logic again? Ah, crap. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, you see, you're obviously slipping off the cog here.
Well, do we need more or less?
I would think, in fact, you could just drink some water where somebody who thought about that illness had touched the water at some point. That should work just as well.
Yeah,
especially if you got a Raman spectroscope.
And you wouldn't have to do any diagnosis. It's here's a glass of water. Because this has nothing but water in it. Theoretically, it should cure everything you could possibly have.
That everybody ever bumped into it. Yeah, we should just walk around they should take a glass of water to every single person who's ever had an illness, and that becomes a universal cure. Simple.
Well, I mean, let's not be too flippant about this. You would have to succuss it first.
Oh,
And in
yes, there
actuality,
we go. Well, maybe
we're
he
not-
will sell us a specialized succussor,
A succussor?
which
You
is a
think they have
modified page shaker, and we can do that.
one? Okay. Patchwork, she's the nodder and smiler. That's her function. Plus what
Well,
Emma
she's
said
not
earlier.
smiling much here. She looks so she's more comatose.
Yeah, she's like, when is this going to end? Much like I would expect the expression of most of you and most of the people in the public chat. It's probably that. When is this going to be over? All right.
Also, since
Yes?
I have a microphone, I have to give a shout out to the amazing Rick and Morty reference. Rayrard, whatever. Listen, my brain melts the more that I'm watching this guy. I just feel it dripping out of my nose and ears. However, the reference was on point. He said the episode where they put him in the thing and the minimum capacity boss, all he would do was just snap and say yes. And old boy compared her to him.
Gotcha.
For evidently the two of you that watch, or none of you, me and Ray over here are the only ones that are watching cartoons, watching the good cartoons.
I'm watching them now. Do you think I'm watching this shit? I'm watching cartoons now. All right. Here we go.
I'm watching this shit. It's your freaking show.
I've seen it. I've seen my show. All right, here we go.
I used to have medical students from the University of Virginia and Medical College of Virginia come to my office as part of their training program. There was initially an introductory program to complementary medicine at MCV and UVA. And they would send the students down, and I would give them an introduction to homeopathy like we're doing now.
So they could learn what not to do.
And I'd say, well, don't believe me on all.
Okay, we don't.
I would show not only what I tell them about the philosophy and the history and the science and how to take a case, and I would show them some of my cured cases out of my thousands of records. I would say,
1 star.
here's some samples of homeopathic remedy. I would give them a tube of arnica, and I would give them a tube of hypericum, which is St. John's wort. And I would say, if you knock yourself, like you know you're going to get a bruise, take the arnica, and here's how to take it. 5 pellets dissolved on the tongue every half an hour to an hour for about 4 doses until it goes away, and see what happens to the bruise.
Okay, a bruise
Must be useful if you're a boxer.
I guess so. And is that part of it? Do the people that succumb to this foolishness assume that they keep taking it and eventually the bruise goes away? Poof, it worked.
Oh,
No one has done the test
I've
of...
proved homeopathy. I have had bruises before, and they went away without me even taking any of that medicine. I took such a low dose of homeopathic mechanism by proxy because I drank water once in a while. That solved it. You see, that accounts for why all my bruises would disappear if I waited long enough.
That is practically an overdose, though, sir. You want to be careful with that kind of foolishness.
Yeah,
And,
well, there you go.
All right. And the mug of truth is empty. Hopefully they won't be any severe stupid until I get a refill.
Hypericum perforatum, or St. John's wort, is an incredibly wonderful remedy for treating any sort of nervous tissues that's been injured.
What?
And for example,
I need an adult.
you've had the,
I need an adult.
Nervous?
Nervous?
Nervous tissues?
Nervous.
Does he suddenly slip into Leica from Taxi all of a sudden?
Is he as drunk as we are? Is this real life?
She looks like she's on some deep meds. She's in deep catatonia, trying to figure out whether or not she needs to dust her bookshelves.
I'm not convinced that this is not a video made by people that watch the show just hoping that they could get on the show.
Yeah, actually, maybe it was the case that isn't Mr. Fleischer or that isn't Ms. Cates, and somebody has spliced together 2 completely unrelated videos just to tease us.
It could be.
It's like an April Fool's joke.
So they're all
that would explain a lot.
They're in a completely different hangout session now. Guys, we made it! Quick, hit this link.
I'm just saying, that's MMA on the left, that's Rayrard on the right.
Oh my God! I would. You know what? If that were the case, I would create a new contest for some cool prize just to award it to the 2 of them if they pull this off.
When you need him.
Okay, there's a new there's a new contest. You got to be a Poe. You got to be a Poe, and you have to be sufficiently convincing that we think it's real,
Homeopathy.
and kind of surreptitiously get the link to us in one of the comments. I wanted to be, hey, I saw this video. I think it's crap. You guys ought to do this. If you can pull that off, I will think up some cool prizes. So, all right, here we go.
The miserable opportunity of squeezing your fingertip in a car door or kind of a closet door or anything like that,
What if you get hit by a bus?
and it just shooting pains up your arm, and the nail gets
or maybe
bruised, and you get
shrapnel from a Syrian bomb.
Yeah,
Barrel bombs. How does your little Acacius
You got to take
vial work then?
Well, see, no, you got to use something different for that. You got to take a very small bus, and you have to dilute it 10,000 times, and then you have to succuss it, and then you're good.
a blood clot on the nail, and you might lose the nail. Very typical thing, a sublingual hematoma. That's a pretty common experience.
All the time.
However, if that happens to you, like whether it's a child or adult, you can give Hypericum perforatum in that moment. Again,
And miracle of miracles, your fingernail will grow back.
30 seed potency is fine, 200 if you've got it.
And again, failure of the double-blind test. Would it grow back without your foolishness? I'm thinking yes.
And somehow I managed to get rid of my injuries just by letting the natural system do it on its own. Yeah, well, there you go.
Pretty much.
Pellets dissolved in the tongue. Take it every 15
David, nanobus.
30 minutes for a couple of doses. And very often the pain goes away within the first or second dose. Within a day, the clot
A little
and bruising
tiny
disappears,
Keanu Reeves
and the
inside.
pain's gone, and you don't lose your nail. And I've treated hundreds of cases like that.
Well, you don't lose your nail. Yeah, you're right. You know where it is. It's just not attached to you anymore.
Hundreds. Disease.
And I teach my patients to have arnica and hypericum at home.
Okay, I would object to his use of the term teach, much in the way I object to Ken Ham and AIG using the word teach. That is not teach.
Just in case of these emergencies.
Perhaps
And
English is not his first language.
Maybe.
Or even his fourth.
All right. Maybe more practice with his lines before he does the show would be good. All right, here we go.
She's smiling now, though. She's enjoying something. I don't think it's the interview.
No, she's having a happy dream about. You know what? It's probably. Remember we used to play that unicorn vid to help people recover from Jeranism's foolishness. She's got that on her phone.
Happy unicorn.
Absolutely. Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows. That's while he's talking. She cuts the sound because you can tell when she's talking because she's got mic buzz. She's got the sound off and she's playing the unicorn thing so she can stay happy through all this crap.
I could have an encyclopedic book of cases of parents telling me, I can't believe how quickly that remedy worked.
Yes, a massive collection of anecdotal evidence. Which, what do we know about anecdotal evidence?
Lydia, an encyclopedia. My God, I'm switching back to old Marx Brothers movies.
Okay, then.
Because it's homeopathic to the symptoms of the case. And that's another point I want to make. You know, a lot of people, especially scientists and doctors,
while I'm talking in this never-ending stream of
complain,
consciousness.
but there's nothing in it. How could it possibly work?
Let me just drunkenly stagger from one unconnected point to another.
Well,
that's based.
Wait a minute, are you talking about him or me?
On the old.
I could have been talking about me. I mean, I don't know. Like, this guy is making as much sense as I'm making right now. Like it.
This is lexicographic diarrhea in a blue shirt.
That is the third band name that I'm taking from this podcast. Lexicographic diarrhea in a blue shirt. Be looking out for our new demo. It's going to be dropping 2 weeks from now.
We'll keep an eye out for it. Just don't forget the royalties to RJ there.
Drum solos by Spunky.
Here we go. Oh, we're a whole 16 minutes in. You guys caused this. I'm just telling you. This was not my selection. Here we go.
You know, where everything's biochemical, everything's chemistry, and working just on the physical level. Homeopathy does not work on the physical level. It works on the bioenergetic level.
That's right. It works in the imagination.
It doesn't work on the physical level at all.
If only I had stopped the vid after he had said, homeopathy does not work, and just stopped it there.
Yeah,
That
it's all in your mind.
That's indeed.
You see, he had homeopathically, there was about a 20% truth in that sentence.
Yep, there you go. If we dilute it some more, it's all true. Okay. And
we can get him down to just a syllable. We may get him up to accuracy.
Indeed. And Crypto, I might agree with you that she doesn't want to listen to this stuff anymore, but keep in mind she is a peddler of this kind of foolishness as well. So this is, when she's not listening to this crap, she's doing this crap. All right, here we go.
Which is deeper. It's deep. It's the bioenergetic level is what actually controls the structure and function moment to moment of the physical, mental, and emotional body. So it's a priori to it, comes before. And
you could turn this into a Gachi Muchi remix.
He can pronounce a priori, but he can't manage encyclopedic?
Apparently
or
not.
It's very easy to ascertain the effectiveness of homeopathy using these acute remedies. And I've been teaching homeopathic study groups for over 30 years, teaching families how to use acute homeopathic remedies.
Bino, exactly. Exactly, I agree. Oh, I just heard a hold on from Eat. Was that you?
Sorry, yeah, Drink, fine, yeah. I'll call it Drink on this one. You know when, like, there are hostage videos, right?
Yeah.
They teach, they teach, like, foreign operatives to how to slur their words in hostage videos as, like, a sign to say, I'm okay, they haven't broken me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's going on here. How else would he be mispronouncing such simple words like knock and doctor?
Maybe he's been ODing on the tube of acacia.
All I'm saying is that I feel like that maybe we should stop making jokes. Hashtag save lexical diarrhea in a blue shirt. Okay, we
save
need to get
Dr. Fleischer, please.
Yeah, this man is being held somewhere.
If he managed to achieve 1 star in 30 years, imagine what he can do in 5 centuries.
Eat, it sounds like you were almost ready to say that this guy is not somewhere else, with long distance video conferencing. He's actually a captive in this woman's house and is being forced
in front of a blue screen. It's actually
it's not even a blue screen. Okay,
jungle.
He is standing directly next to her. That is just a very well-crafted set in the back to make it look like there's a line between the two, and just off camera there's somebody holding a gun to him right now, and that's why he keeps stuttering, and he's like, and let me keep talking here, because the guy hasn't lowered the gun. So he's just going to keep talking until they lower the gun.
So somewhere in this video,
this is becoming a plausible scenario, at least as plausible as homeopathy.
That's true. So somewhere during, if he makes one more misstep, I mean, we've had 3 mispronunciations so far. If he blows his script one more time, we may see her reach right over and slap him in the back of the head. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And here we go.
And prevented a lot of emergency room visits and prevented a lot of problems getting worse just by their own self-care. And I actually have a website.
Yes, and some people have died because of engaging in their own self-care.
Website
the Illuminati have him, Brian says.
They very well may. Wait a minute. Let me check on the Shield channel and see if there's any reports of that. Nope. I've got nothing. Not on the Illuminati channel or the NASA channel. It's not us. Maybe somebody, but it's not us. Any of you guys got them? All right, here we go.
Nope.
That teaches people how to use things for bee stings. And I have a differential diagnosis. Like I did.
Bee sting.
We're back to the bees. If he succusses.
Not the bees.
I have a problem with the little buzzies out in the garden when he was a child, and it's just the kind of focus, because I think there's an awful lot of illnesses that happen in the world that aren't having anything to do with bee stings.
That's true, and he ought to ease off on the bees, because I don't know if you've all noticed, we've been running a little short on bees lately. We might want to, if he starts succussing a bee, I'm calling PETA. That's it. All right, here we go.
This particular remedy, and I give the description of the symptoms that you'd have physically, emotionally, mentally. And if you have these symptoms, try this one. If this doesn't work, go to that one. So you have a differential diagnosis.
Keep trying crap, and maybe it'll use up enough time to where you'll get better on your own. That has to be the only justification for this crap. People's propensity for getting better on their own. That's the only excuse for this stuff I can think of.
Of the remedies until you hit the right one.
And what's that website?
That website is
Oh, question.
Wait a minute. You guys can't do shameless plugs right in the middle of your video. What the hell's the matter with you?
drmcare.com.
That's our job.
And in fact, on that
Oh, RJ, did you have something?
I was just saying that's our job.
Yes, absolutely.
Look, don't get too down on her, okay? All right. She finally woke up and realized, oh, I'm conducting an interview. Let me ask you a question. What's the website?
Oh crap! Is the show over? Oh no! Damn it! We're right in the middle.
Yeah,
website,
there we go.
I actually have a blog. If you go to the website and go hit on the head.
Yeah, click on the thing that says blog.
That says blog. There is a video there that summarizes
blog.
He was right. I was right. If you want to get to the blog, go to this website and click on the thing that says blog.
all of the most current scientific research, very solid scientific research, supporting the foundations of
my
homeopathy.
grandmother describe it. Oh man.
RJ called drink. What do you got, RJ?
Yeah, the guy says yes. It's going to have all that strong scientific research. Would that be like the kind of papers that we were looking at in the previous video, there, Dr. Fleischer? Really? Do you really want to go there?
I'm guessing. If you word salad people enough, they'll either agree with you or go away. That's true. All right.
Brian says success a big hornet's nest. It will cure your mosquito bites.
There you go.
Science. It's extremely well done. It was put together by doctors from India who have been practicing homeopathy unobstructed for over 100 years.
Ooh, and they did a really excellent see their video.
job summarizing all the most current research and where to look it up yourself if you want to. It's really quite remarkable.
I just think it's
Yes, it's been suffered through already.
so important for people to be informed about homeopathy and to try it out. Since a lot of my audience are concerned about skin issues, can we talk about maybe you could share some cases about how homeopathy can help with skin issues?
Okay, she makes an interesting recommendation there. It's if you have a condition or an illness or I didn't call drink. Did you have something to eat?
No. I'm sorry. You're good. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Okay.
This is your symphony. You're the conductor. Go ahead.
Lovely. She mentioned an interesting point there. Like, try it out. I don't remember ever visiting a medical professional and having let's try this. That has not a. You
know what? Let's give this a go. It'll be a lark. Take I don't know. What do you think? 3 of these? 4 of these? I don't know.
Really?
I know it says not for oral, but I mean, whatever. Put them wherever, and then call me tomorrow.
It's the walkabout theory of a medical practitioner. You just try something and see what happens.
Yeah, and for most things, like we said earlier, if enough time passes, there will be recovery. And if you're already kind of have a bias as well, I've been taking these pills, the problem did go away, my leg did heal. Son of a bitch, homeopathy works.
I've had cases
and by the time you manage to plow through the giant book of symptoms, you could be self-cured even from that, especially since he's been pushing acacia tubes down you from the get-go.
Indeed.
In adults, and psoriasis is not only
wait. What kind of tube?
Whatever, the acacia or whatever the stuff he was talking about there. He had the 2 tubes of medicine that he would be giving to the person who apparently makes the mistake of walking into his lair. Yes. And he probably has a whole box full of them just off a camera here. Here, instead of the mints. Here's tube number 1 and tube number 2. And
somebody just walks in. Somebody just walks in to get their parking validated, and he's just there, just shoving tubes down their throat.
Have a tube.
I would blow off my left toe with a .22 rifle if this man can pronounce that word, acacia or whatever. If he can pronounce that correctly, I will be a 9-toed man tomorrow morning.
You know what? Actually, I have to retract my earlier objection. The let's try this diagnosis. Pheno is quite correct. Occasionally, there are things that are unidentified or idiopathic, and the first thing that is often done is say for an infection, a broad spectrum antibiotic, which you don't want to give too much of because it screws up a lot of things. But it is a let's try this while we figure out exactly what's going on. So I will retract my earlier objection. Pheno, thanks for correcting me. You are quite right. All right, moving on.
allergic phenomena. It's actually an autoimmune phenomena. That is, you're allergic to yourself. You're allergic to there's 5 layers of skin in your body. And so as an allergy to the cells in the stratum spinosum, and they become hyperinflamed and create thickened plaques of skin that when it peels off.
No, that's coming from me. Sorry.
All right. Okay.
I thought it was these
You were
folks.
trying to put our stuff here.
inadvertent entertainment here, right? That was interfering with the boring show.
I'll mute.
That's
No, you good? Because I'm also playing Plants vs Zombies, so it's fine.
Ooh, MMA. If you blow off your toe with a .22 rifle, you'll become immune to cannon fire.
Probably.
And Photoshop just froze.
Indeed.
That's good, because I had been terrified that 17th century pirates are gonna like roll up on my apartment. So, you know what? I'm gonna inoculate myself real quick.
Good idea. All right, and yeah. Besides, Mason with the sounds, don't be too hard on him because he's still mad that we swore off the soundboard. All right, here we go.
It bleeds. It's very, very uncomfortable. And I treat that with a combination of homeopathic treatment to stimulate the vital force, the body's ability to heal itself.
Vital force. Okay.
Along with nutritional therapy.
The force is with him.
I find that virtually almost every patient I've ever treated with psoriasis are all gluten sensitive. And I don't even have to do the blood test, but I do them anyway to confirm it, to convince them. But I happen to
I don't have to do a test.
Indeed. Okay.
And I'll do an unnecessary one anyway because I'm getting money on it, along with the tubes that I'm giving out to everybody that are all available at our website.
Absolutely.
It's a great thing to hear come from your doctor. I ain't got to do a test or nothing, but I'm going to shove a couple of these tubes into whatever orifice you got here, and then I'm going to be good. You good? All right.
Just for the fussy scientist types on there. We got it all settled on the book that was written in 1752.
Indeed. Okay.
Here, chew on this tree bark and then call me next week.
And since we stopped it on this particular frame, we have to ask ourselves, is this a look of anger or constipation?
He is gnashing his teeth in frustration, and she's gone back to thinking about the rock concert.
I hope he doesn't knock himself into something. Then he'd have to mutilate a bee or something. I don't know.
This is that moment in that 1 minute speed date where he accidentally let it slip that he prefers the Firefly movie over the television series. And that's the look of utter hatred and disdain that comment deserves.
Okay.
There. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure I have a friend watching that prefers the movie over the show. And screw him. Hate him. Never talking to him again.
Nice. Hey, why did my subs just go down by 1? Okay. Here we go.
Case of psoriasis that hasn't had some degree
but your
of celiac.
viewership just went up by 3, so you are welcome.
Oh, I'm good.
You went from 22 to 25 with that comment.
Crypto, if that's his O face, he's scaring off a lot of people.
Orgasm. Yeah. Oh, that could be a sad observation. That could be his orgasm face, and unfortunately, not even homeopathy can find a cure for that.
Oh my God! How awful is that? If he's not wearing anything from the waist down, that he is just so into his own BS that he is just.
Well, and that could account the expression on the woman's face because she gets to see below the camera line on her feed.
So she's thinking, "That's it. You're done. That's it." All right.
As far as you're going to go.
We're okay.
Now, can't you even use the tube for something practical?
Oh, okay. You know what? We're venturing into Kanadas territory without him. It's not fair. It's not fair. He has a lot of work to do, I think, and end of semester. See, I know he's doing a lot of work right now. It's really unfair.
He's got to work for that second star on his rating.
Okay, you know what? I'm hitting play now. Just
positivity.
Very good idea.
Even if it's not blatant, if they don't have to have true celiac disease, you have to be IgA, immunoglobulin A positive.
The chat. It's homoerotic.
But there's a lot of patients who are IgD and IgG, different antibodies positive, and they will all have the whole range of celiac-like symptoms, but it tends not to so much affect the gut. Those people tend to get it of the skin and the lungs and the brain. And so I take them off of all glutens and sometimes all grains and get them on vegetables and fruits and other foods they're not allergic to. And then I give them homeopathic treatment. That combination together will cure the psoriasis or make it tremendously better. I just recently had a case, and she had developed guttate psoriasis, which is patches of psoriasis all over the body with weeping, itchy, horribly burning lesions that were much worse.
Okay, it's not just us venturing into Kanata's territory.
When she felt cold, which is counterintuitive. Usually, a hot, burning lesion feels better with cold. Hers were worse from cold; they were more itchy, worse at night, to the point where she was incredibly restless and had to get up out of bed and just pace around.
Oh, I caught it. That was a smirk. She smirked. Did you guys see that? He was talking and she smirked. She was like, "Yeah, bullshit."
Brian says, I think she's homeo-bored to stiffness.
Could very well be.
And better from a hot bath. And what was really interesting is that she would feel much better from a scalding hot bath than you and I would get burned in. She loved it. It would make the psoriasis feel better. So I took that pattern of symptoms together. Someone who has itching, burning rashes all over their body, which were weepy. Some were weepy, some were dry. Who was extremely restless, who was worse from cold and better from scalding heat, and got up in the middle of the night restless and was irritable. And one other thing, she craved milk, which is a symptom of this remedy. The remedy was Rustox, Rustoxicodendron.
Yeah,
poison
I would have
ivy,
said that.
which makes a really nasty rash that we know is usually worse, better from hot bathing. And even when you get a poison ivy and a rash out in the woods, it's that same pattern of symptoms. So I just used the homeopathicity or similarity between.
Okay, homeopathicity. I think that's a new one.
What did he even say?
Also
I think-
called magic.
I think yes, but I think homeopathicity. I think that word needs to go into our new lexicon that includes things like curvizin and things of that sort. Homeopathicity. I like it.
Homeopathic. Yeah.
The poison
Yeah, I'd
ivy
like to know
eruption.
whether his amygdala is firing off when he's homeopathic.
Difficult to tell.
What did I even hear?
I don't know. We could try and transcribe it later, but no. Okay, here we go.
And the psoriasis eruption to find the right remedy. And after giving her a dose, I gave her 200 C potency for 3 days in a row because it was all over her body and she was completely miserable. And she said she called me 4 days later to say it's not burning or itching as much. And the next.
All right. You know what? We're like halfway through. Is there anything but anecdotal evidence, which is by definition not evidence?
Probably not. Remember, I guess his idea of science source is the kind of same Indian material that we've just looked at earlier. So
I'm
this
guessing.
is not exactly looking promising.
And even if we did accept anecdotal evidence, this latest anecdote, I gave her the stuff, she went home, and then later she called me that the rash was going away.
4 days later.
Not later. Yeah, exactly. Not later. 4 days later.
Like nothing your body can do to correct you independent of the stuff he gave you. And she's got that beautiful little smile on her face because she's closed her eyes and she's no longer looking at the camera line below the cut.
Yep, pink
Listen,
fluffy uniforms, uniforms. What the hell was that? Okay, go ahead.
You need to watch this woman's face. This woman's face is amazing because as he's going through, right, she's clearly not listening to anything he says, but she's picking up on the tones, right? Like you do when you're trapped in an elevator with somebody that's trying to tell you how great their new yogi is, right? And then so they get to a point and you're just like, yeah, right? She keeps making that face. So when he said, and then so we recognize that it was rocker blocker block, she made that face like, yeah, right? Like because like she just put it together in her head. So I've been watching her and it's been an endless form of entertainment. That and literally everything that's coming through the chat.
I'm also wondering whether or not there's a chance that the little potted plant beyond her shoulder may suddenly leap forward and try to just.
Oh my God!
Kill the stream.
Where's the plant from the Little Shop of Horrors when you need him?
Or I suddenly forgot the science fiction story about the ambulatory plants. Anyway, I'll think of it eventually.
Okay, we'll wait.
Oh, no, wait.
Nothing like being on the spot, huh, RJ? Plus, that is the second time. That is the second time you've said you don't remember something. Seriously, somebody run outside.
It's been a long time since I did it.
Run outside.
You're not talking about Troll 2. No, they turned people into plants and then ate them because they were vegetarians, but they wanted to eat people.
The John
so they
Wyndham
turned people
story. I can't remember the title of it.
Day of the Triffids. Okay.
Yeah, the Day of the Triffids.
There you go. Hey, I didn't pull that out of my head. That was Emma.
Oh, it's up on the MMA. Thank you, Emma.
Yep.
Man, MMA is just like like between MMA and like Pheno 3000, it's just an endless font of "You're welcome."
He is the Emma Peel of our show.
Okay.
And I'm assuming MMA is going to explain to the rest of us who Emma Peel is, and then we'll all be in the know.
Okay.
And I maybe can try for John Steed.
Okay, I'm lost there. Anybody?
The Avenger.
Okay, see, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
the old Avengers, not Thor
Yeah.
and all the rest of the comic book stuff now.
Gotcha.
That's dating me.
All right. See that I've learned something today. Okay,
Diana Krieg.
here we go.
Next time I saw her at the 8 to 9 week follow up, it was virtually completely gone, and she.
Look at that. 8 or 9 weeks later.
Yeah, after 8 or 9 weeks. Yeah, boy. No rash can disappear in that amount of time without a miracle.
I saw her sometime during the next decade, and miraculously.
She's totally thrilled. Totally thrilled. This is the kind of thing we see. I mean, also I got her off of all gluten, and the blood test came back that she was celiac positive. She was celiac variant positive. She was not IgA, she was IgG off the charts. So I took her off all the grains. I made her stop the milk, to which she was also allergic. And what's very interesting, I find this a lot, is that we tend to be allergic to the very things we crave. Russ Tox tends to crave milk, cold milk. And here she was allergic to it and eating the very thing that would make her psoriasis work. So I got her to stop that, take the remedy, and it all went away. And now she can have some of those foods without the same reactivity that she had before. So homeopathy doesn't only treat acute situations, as we mentioned initially, but deep, chronic autoimmune conditions. I've treated multiple sclerosis.
You didn't treat anything. No, drink.
Okay.
You didn't treat anything, okay? If this woman had celiac as bad as you claim you did, right? She would know, and everybody within a 3-block radius would know, right? Like, it's like, that is not the kind of disease that goes unnoticed, okay? It's not like a boil or a tumor or a cancer that can just fester underneath the skin. That's a very in-your-face kind of problem. And more importantly, your homeopathic BS did nothing, right? You just said, oh, okay, this stuff is giving you explosive diarrhea. Maybe you should stop eating this stuff. Oh, and by the way, here's also a jar of water as well. Take that so that I can then take credit for this on a podcast with the single most vacuous human being that has ever sat in front of a microphone.
Okay. So, I'm not sure if I'm hearing you correctly. Are you saying? No, couldn't be. Well, you know what? I'll ask anyway, just to make sure. Could not possibly be the case. You're not saying you doubt the efficacy of his homeopathic treatments, are you?
What? Me? No.
Agreed. That's crazy talk.
Managed to get that 1 star. Good heavens, that lady with her psoriasis and skin rash must have really been ladling out the high ratings on that one.
I was doubting Dr. Lexical Diarrhea in a blue shirt up until his 4th anecdotal story, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm on team Dr. Lexical Diarrhea in a blue shirt. I think I'm going to start going there. So I've been checking with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Turns out they don't accept it because obviously they're shills. See his inability to pronounce words is.
You're catching homeopathically his inability to pronounce words.
We can't continue to watch this. I'm going to be just a blithering mass on the ground by the end of this. I
All
already
right.
have enough trouble relating with normal human beings. I can't have this on my.
Oh, excuse me. You're in this group. You've left the normal human being category
Pretty
right off
much.
the bat.
Pretty much. And NA, that's a kindergarten cop reference. I like it. Okay, here we go.
Wait, what? Where?
It's not a tumor.
Treated it successfully. I've treated systemic lupus erythematosus, where people are nearly on their deathbed. I've treated patients who have malignancies with homeopathy nutritional therapy successfully.
Okay, this is where it gets dangerous.
So it's not only acute conditions, it's very complex, deep, complicated disease processes can be treated effectively with homeopathy. But those are the kind of things that require somebody with tertiary care training and homeopathy, like myself, because they're a lot of work and require a lot of expertise. But it's so gratifying to see
Mr. Unite for the Children certainly seems secure in his views. I have to agree.
someone like that improve rather than just suffer and die. It's quite gratifying. A lot of work, but worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to reiterate that if people are hearing symptoms that they have, that it's, if it's a chronic, more complicated case, it's better to work with a homeopath, not just try and start experimenting with the remedies that you've mentioned. Unless it's an acute case like with the arnica or hypericum, those are simple. But keeping in mind that it's a combination. It's not just the physical symptom, but also a lot of these mental states, emotional states, the ameliorations of hot or cold, warm drinks or temperature. These are the kinds of things that help people pick the homeopathic remedy that's going to help them the most.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I would direct the fine panel to Fino's 2 paragraphs in the public chat and just remind you once again, this is what angers me about homeopathy as a substitute for real medicine. People end up dead because of this stuff. So, nice 2 paragraphs, Fino. Nicely done.
Maybe that's why he's only got the 1 star, because all of his failures managed never to rate him.
Yeah, but he gets no negative. He gets no negative reviews. I mean, theoretically, they should all be positive because everybody else is dead.
Yeah.
Look. I am a cancer survivor. Yeah. Doesn't define me, right? Don't like talking about it. But a woman I work with, right? She's into this stuff. She's into the essential oils thing.
Oh my.
And she's a really nice, really well-meaning person. She came to the hospital, see me and stuff like that. So she recognizes the efficacy of hospitals. But she spent $300 some odd on like half an ounce of this oil because somebody told her it cures cancer. And it smells really nice. And she's really like, it's weird for me to see like that negative, like, because you're right. Like, it is fun to like laugh at the stupidity of it.
Yeah.
But how am I supposed to tell this person who came in to see me and said, here, now burn this oil. This is going to help cure your cancer. To like, no, that's not how things work. Like,
well,
how are you supposed to break beyond that? Like how are you supposed to close that gap?
If it were just a conversation and they had not gone out of their way to what they thought would be helping you, it would be a very clear conversation. But yeah, that's a rather funny position to be in. Here, look, I spent a heap of cash. This will fix you all up. You can't very well say honestly what I would say, because as you all know, I'm crabby and unpleasant. Beat it. You can't say that. But
well, I mean, I typically don't mind like being that person, but at the same time, it's like if I were to just smash it on the ground and say, no, you're an idiot, right? I'm never going to talk to this person again. And they're going to go on continue to thinking the things that they think. So if it's somebody that I care about enough to where I took the essential oil and I, burned it in my room, and it smelled great. It smelled like cloves and oranges, right? But it did not smell $350 great.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's the person who sold it to her for $350 that I have the greater distaste for, not the poor gullible person who, yes, wasted the money, but nevertheless, it's the person that charged the $300 for it. either under the weird notion that this was actually going to do any good, or worse, by a craven interest that they don't care whether it actually does any good. They're just going to pocket the 300.
And I can guarantee you that if this dude suddenly starts tasting weird things in his mouth, and then somebody gives him a CAT scan and there's a mass in his brain, he's not going to be like, okay, now how can I treat this homeopathically? He's going to lay back and take the radiation like the rest of us do.
I would tend to agree.
In some small part of his brain, he realizes that this is BS. And that right there is like the ultimate evil, is that you're packaging something that is not medicine, and you're doing your best to make it look like medicine.
Yeah.
And because of that, people can get hurt. But I have to hold out hope that number is not as high as it seems, like that when it comes down to it, like people aren't treating their broken legs with homeopathy. Nobody's getting pulled from a car after rolling it 3 times down a freeway off ramp, and then telling the paramedics, just roll the car once more and then send me home. They're getting bandaged up and taken to the hospital. So
yeah.
But now in the United States, I don't know if it starts this year or next year, all homeopathic products will have a notice saying that that thing doesn't work. They will be obliged to put a sticker on each of their
yes, that is
stuff.
I had heard that as well, and I was pleased to hear that I don't think it's as strongly worded as that, saying this does not do anything. I think it's more that
either that, or maybe that if the homeopaths pay enough to go to Mar-a-Lago, maybe they'll be able to short circuit that from the administration on down.
Yeah, see that's a matter of some concern as well.
Because there's a lot of homeopathic products who are sell in pharmacy and other places, and it's clear that it will have a notice on each bottle saying that there is nothing proved about the efficacy of the stuff.
Yep, I had heard that, and I was pleased to hear that, because there's no shortage of these remedies put prominently. Think of the profit margin. If you're selling something that's basically extremely inexpensive inert substances, and you don't have to spend the money to go through FDA approval and all that sort of thing, because the FDA says, no, that's not a drug. It's not a food. Why are you?
They classify it as like a dietary supplement or something like that.
Indeed.
And you can get around the whole thing. You can put whatever you want in the package, as long as you classify it as a dietary supplement.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Indeed. So yep.
On that note, I will have to leave because I'm falling asleep.
Understandable. We've been watching the same video as you, and we're having a hard time keeping the eyelids open as well. We understand completely. If you're going to go off to sleep, and I'm sorry, Chief. There's one more thing you got to do if you're going to be leaving. You got to do your shameless plug now. Then, you want me to do it for you? I'll do it for you.
Why not?
Everybody go to Tau Ceti Alpha's channel. It's real easy to find. Tau Ceti Alpha. There's only one of them. That's well, go over to Tau Ceti's channel, like, subscribe. He kicks ass. Was that good enough, Tau?
Yes, and you can find me sometimes on the Air Discussion channel.
Excellent. And
I'm often blown away by like the insane amount of flat earthers that you find in your like full retard mode videos.
Yeah, and how does he remain sane? Tau, how do you remain sane? Because what we see is not the whole video. To pick out those good parts, you have to watch the whole video. I mean, are you okay?
Yes. And the other worst part that you cannot because it destroyed the theme of the episode of things like that.
Gotcha. So for the good of humanity, you kept those quiet. Gotcha. All right.
I keep it for perhaps someday we'll make some medley about all the crazy parts that doesn't fit,
Oh,
just
indeed.
to
So there may be something better than full retard mode coming at some point in the future. Jesus, we're gonna have to keep an eye on your channel, Chief.
I, I have to begin to start to be more aggressive about other character on the flat Earth. So,
Hmm.
I
Well,
was a bit shy at first, but now getting lots of ammunition. So,
there you go. Looking forward to it. All right. Well,
so for that, I thank you and good night, everyone, and see you next week.
absolutely. See you next week. Good night, sir. Thanks for
Peace.
joining us.
Bye.
All right. Now let's see if I can come up with something to say that would mean I could pretend that there wasn't more to this video. We could just close it. No, it's not going to work, is it?
Look, dude, I'm cool killing it now. Like, what do you think that this is going to come out of this guy's mouth?
Well, it's so far. That's what I was saying before. It's all been anecdotal stuff where I gave someone a tube of water that I waved a flower past, and it remembers. And they went away for 6 months, and they came back, and they no longer had that zit on their nose. Evidence.
This is how he got that
Checkmate.
1-star rating.
Checkmate. But yeah, I haven't seen anything different. Well, how about do we want to set a limit? Like if he doesn't vary off the anecdotal crap in the next, I don't know, minute and a half, we'll kill it and say our good nights.
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah, because the only time he referenced, he said, go to the website, and there you can find links to the Indian scientists who have done the science work that I am not apparently going to try myself.
Indeed. All right. Let's give it a minute and a half. That sounds fair, right? He should be able to say something of value.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Utter the English language more in 1 minute and a half. Ample rope.
All right. So we'll be at 26 and a half. If nothing comes up, we'll kill it. Here we go.
And
Right.
I think it's great for our audience to start becoming aware of, especially acute homeopathy is a great place to start with, like the arnica and the hypericum. And I want you to talk to us now about the access to homeopathy, because right now you can go into a health food store and you can pick up a homeopathic remedy. They come in little tubes or little white pellets, usually is how they're administered. And like you mentioned, something like the 30C, 12C, 6C, those are the kinds of potencies.
Okay, wait a minute. How do they get it into these little pills? I thought the whole thing was dilution in water. How do you take water that has had all this magical dilution to wherein there's crystalline quantum energy flux capacitors in it and make it into a completely dry tablet? Theoretically, all the water has gone away. What this says?
Ooh, but maybe it has its memory water that only remembers when it used to be water.
Wait a minute. Are you saying the dry pill remembers the water, and the water that it remembers?
If you bathe it in Raman spectroscopy, I'm sure they can find evidence for it.
Got it. So we're now not just with the succussion and infinite dilutions to where there's not one molecule of the original substance left. Now we're taking that water, evaporating all of it into a dry substance which remembers the water. Yes?
When you use quantum tunneling, anything is possible.
Oh, you know what? Checkmate. You're right.
And mega quantum too, so you got all of these amazing, fabulous effects that are going on here. And I bet there's ultraviolet light somewhere, like if you go inside or outside at some point, and there are magnetic fields, and there's like gravity, and there's like moisture in the air. So the humidity, there's your moisture, right? And saliva. Yeah. If we think about it, and we can find a page on our 17th century list of homeopathy that will just cover that case. Thank you very much. And please make sure the credit card is still active when you're on your way out.
Very good. All right, there.
We do not validate parking.
Okay, there's 18 seconds down.
Homeopathic parking. They don't actually require space at all.
All right. Here we go again. Let's see. Okay.
My closet is a homeopathic parking lot.
These you see in health food stores, and even some pharmacies have them. and it's great that we have that access for acute conditions. But as you and I have talked about, and why I wanted to have you on, is there has been a threat to homeopathy and our access to it.
It's
That's
called
very true.
reality.
And one of the biggest issues
damn medicine
of the years, and a lot of people don't realize it, but the very first national medical organization in the United States was founded in 1844. That was the American Institute of Homeopathy. And they opened the doors to all doctors, whether they were homeopathic doctors or Tomlinsonians or herbologists or electrical doctors. They weren't chiropractors back then.
Did he say electrical doctors?
Yeah, I think he's maybe thinking mesmerism or something on there. Yeah, the 1840s, that was a really good period back when they had the real sciences like phrenology.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's
diagnosing the humors and shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when having a collection of trained leeches meant something.
What do you mean? Listen, first off, right, you're not going to talk junk about training leeches, right? I am currently working on an army of leeches.
And a teeny weeny little whip, and you can get those little bastards in line in 2 or 3 weeks.
Says the owner of a leech circus.
I take offense to your derisive tone, sir. I am currently working on an all-leech production of Hamlet that will bring you to tears.
I will reply, sir, that I have successed all of my derision beforehand.
All right. Look at this. A minute and a half is what we said. we're 22 seconds into that minute and a half. This is really frightening. Okay, here we go.
Then, or osteopaths just then, but also to the allopathic doctors, to everybody. But 3 years later, in 1847, the second national medical organization was formed, the AMA, the American Medical Association. And in the founding charter of the AMA is that they said we allopaths are coming together to crush the scourge of homeopathy.
And they failed. Sorry. That's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to pick up the gauntlet.
And the reason was this. In small town Illinois or wherever there were people, there would be a couple of allopaths working in town. And in those days, back in the 1800s, they didn't have very many tools. They were bloodletting, they were leeching, they were scoring people and burning them, and they were using horrible tools that were poisoning people.
Okay, and this is what he's saying.
Yeah.
That homeopathy is better than bloodletting. Okay, you know what? I'll give them that.
Sitting naked on a rock is probably better than bloodletting too, but it ain't going to cure you of stuff.
I will not, because he is going to the other side of that. Yeah, bloodletting, at least they had an idea. They had a hypothesis that they were testing. Your blood is bad, drain it, and you'll get better. When they realized that was stupid, they stopped doing it. Okay.
Yeah, that Mr. Lister guy thought about this sterilization trick, and that Mr. Pasteur came along and started to discover like the science of it, and all of those pesky little sciencey guys started actually working out how diseases really happened instead of thinking about humors and sympathetic magic. And we moved beyond. And even though we have polyester shirts today, we also have advanced medical science, and he's managed to only get the blue shirt along with his 1-star rating.
I mean, I'm interested to see where he's going to go with it, is all. Because, at the same time that old boy was developing his dilution theory about eating bark and then getting sick and be like, oh, maybe if I eat a little less bark, then I will be less sick from eating bark from, what was it, quinine poisoning or whatever triggered that guy. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he was developing his whole thing. It immediately got debunked. They put their fingers in their ears, went la, 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 la. And then the science that he's talking about now, they didn't put their fingers in their ears. So we no longer leak blood. We're no longer just straight hacking off limbs. We're no longer treating or burning schizophrenics as witches, right? Our science has moved on. Yours has not.
So you're saying it's possible that we may have learned 1 or 2 things in a couple of 100 years. That's basically it. We might have.
We've learned a thing or two about a thing or two.
Okay, but keep in mind, you just said you're interested to see where he's going with this. That means I have to hit play again. You understand that, right?
Okay,
We
hold on.
live
Okay,
dangerously
okay,
here.
okay. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. Do it. Do it. Just do it.
All right,
Do
here we go.
Do it.
They were using
Wait a minute, you sound like
Oh
Kirk.
God, it still hurts.
You sound
Ow.
like you sounded like Kirk in the new Star Trek movie. All right, here we go.
calomel,
Do
which is a
it.
form of organic mercury, to what they called puke and purge somebody to drive the evil
What?
humors out of the body. It was just primitive, barbaric medicine.
Right.
So when a homeopath came into town with these incredibly safe, incredibly effective remedies,
Okay.
Equally as primitive.
I take-
Equally as primitive.
I take umbrage to that effectiveness comment he just made there.
within a very short period of time, everybody in town was going to the homeopath, and the allopaths were going out of business. We have to realize the AMA, the American Medical Association, is not an organization that's come together to protect the American people.
Also, the American Motorcyclist Association.
That's true, which is also better than bloodletting.
Yeah, I am a card-carrying AMA member.
There you go.
And you know what? I feel like the American Motorcycle Association has done more to help me fight diseases than I don't know whatever claptrap's about to come out of his gaping maw next.
I think I would have to agree. Here we go.
People, the public, healthcare access. They are a trade organization that are meant to protect their business interests.
And how do they do that? By limiting quackery so that the faith in the medical practices does not wane. Yes?
All of the homeopaths don't have a business practice or a vested interest in their practices at all. No, they are completely disinterested sweet cakes who only have tubes to offer.
Absolutely. It's just purely for the good of humanity that he's offering this advice. Come to him and bring your credit card. Okay, here we go.
And they didn't like the fact they were losing business. But at the time,
maybe they didn't like the fact that people were dying. Oh wait, no, that's modern. No,
that is losing business.
Yeah,
because the homeopaths keep killing their patients.
In the 1840s and 50s, there wasn't much they could do about it because the public demand was very high for homeopathy, and homeopathy was extremely. The way that homeopathy really spread across the United States is there were several epidemics and pandemics of cholera, of scarlet fever, of all kinds of infectious illnesses, which was the number one cause of death back in the 1800s, in the early 1900s. And whereas allopathic medicine was completely useless for a lot of those conditions, homeopathic medicine was extremely effective. There are, in the medical literature, the homeopathic hospitals and the patients who went to homeopathic physicians, those communities all survived. They did fine. The cholera went away. Whereas the communities that only had allopathic doctors, they lost most of their population. That's an established.
Citation needed.
Yeah, because, if that were true, why were you? I don't know of any indication, and I will find out, I suppose, whether or not there's ever been a case where the homeopaths ever had a huge success in getting rid of cholera or any of these other epidemics that came out, because it would have no effect whatsoever on the biology, whether it's a bacterium or a virus or pollution in terms of tainted water in other contexts. Homeopathy would have no effect on that. And I don't even know from the homeopathic literature that they've ever claimed such success. So he may be blowing a smoke ring on there. I am looking around at some of the history here to see.
Okay. All right. And by the way, any of our esteemed panel or anybody in the public chat, he's not saying anything new. You can yell "kill it" at any time. Here we go.
Fact. That's an established fact, and that actually exists today because there were some epidemics in South America of cholera and other illnesses like that, where the patients were dying from just taking antibiotics. When Homeopaths Without Borders went down there and treated them for free, the people were all getting
Homeopaths Without Borders? Is there such a? Is that real?
Homeopaths.
Oh guys, Psycho Clowns Without Borders. Oh man, that is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I guess I don't have to worry
Oh,
about
man.
customs. What do you got there? Water? Okay, you're in.
Drunken Millwall fans without borders. Oh man.
better.
Pittsburgh
Same thing
Steelers fans without borders.
happened in
Oh god, I can't think of a more farcical and yet harmful organization than Homeopaths Without Borders.
I would tend to agree.
Haiti and in Cuba.
They claim to have a treatment for cholera, but I'm trying to find any indication where it was actually used to the supposed success that he claims.
All right.
Both ancient and modern examples of how homeopathy was very effective in the treatment of the public health. And it was because that was the reason that it spread like wildfire across the United States, simply because homeopathy works.
Okay, another unsupported assertion.
That's all. Inexpensive, cost-effective, safe medicine. All right. Around the around the end of the Civil War, the beginning of the advent of the industrial era, these large chemical companies started growing up, and
crap.
these chemical
Here it comes, big evil pharma.
companies realized that they could make a lot of money selling patent
Cures.
drugs. And that's where Merck, Sharp and Dohme, and a lot of these different large pharmaceutical companies were born. And they realized that the only way they're going to make any money is to sell large material doses of these drugs. And the only ones that were doing that.
Yeah. Because the large-scale homeopathic companies, they just give their shit away, don't they, homie?
That they do.
You're just out there just handing this.
Don't charge a damn thing. That $300 homeopathic remedy didn't actually cost $300, did it?
Not at all.
I implore you, Captain McLexical Diarrhea, to go down to Rite Aid and then find the aspirin, and then right next to the aspirin, at least where I live, is going to be the homeopathic aspirin. Looks exactly like it. Is the exact same price or more. Okay, so you people are also like it's pot calling a kettle black, right? You're chucking stones in a glass house here.
Okay.
You're trying to tell me to take the splinter out of my eye, but you got a homeopathic plank in your eye, which I guess is mostly water and sugar and oh god,
quantum crystals. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
I want to cry.
All right.
I just need someone to hold me.
Are you still waiting for him to come up with something? You're still waiting for him to say something about you?
No, because he didn't. He didn't go anywhere with it. It's like every one of his arguments is like, hey, you know how much this thing sucks? Well, hey, check this out. I've got this other completely unrelated thing over here.
That's been his argument so far. What I will give you will not kill you. Right, but see, if I have a broken leg, I'm not coming into a doctor to say, howdy, please don't kill me. I'm coming in for an actual cure. And
it's just
that is where we're sadly lacking.
It's not even that. It's like and she's not even pressing him on it, right? He is just saying the objections to his craft, right? It's like me hitting on that girl at the bar that's way out of my league. Mm-hmm. It's me just like, yeah, I get it. I'm not that good looking, and I'm kind of off-putting, and I'm kind of poor, and I smell weird, and I live in an apartment. But how about them Panthers, though, right? Like, you watch football? How about the Panthers this season? What you thinking about that? That's just his whole argument. It's like, yeah, I get it. People say that it doesn't work. Yeah, it's mostly water. But back in the day, they used to cut your leg off.
Yeah, so see, this is better. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And anybody notice, apparently, from we were getting some audio from Mason. Apparently, Mason actually purchased a TARDIS. Did you hear that?
I did.
That was whatever. That was what the sound was. It's like,
there goes the game,
dude.
It was him. Yeah, it was him. I just figured you were moving through the fabric of time. Well, it's more like a rug, really. But yeah.
Yeah, there it is. All right, here we go.
With the elephants.
I'll vote kill it.
You vote kill it.
I'll throw some out there if anyone else is feeling it. I mean, if y'all want to keep watching it, screw it.
I'll stay neutral because I defer to your judgment, and everyone else's as well. But there's been nothing new In so far,
Yeah.
we're 29 minutes into this, and it's all been the same babble. This stuff will kill you. Homeopathy doesn't do that. I knew a woman that had an itch. I talked to her a year and a half later. She didn't have an itch anymore. Problem solved. Other than those two types of arguments, I've seen like nothing. So, all right, Eat is voting for kill. RJ, what do you say?
I say kill this.
All right,
Let's homeopath him down to nothing.
all right, we can do. And you know what? Actually, this is just us talking. Let's make sure it's open to the wider population. Folks in the public chat, we're seriously thinking of killing this because there's been nothing new. What say you?
Look, my main man Sub-Zero39, he's got my back. He said kill it. He seconded it.
All right, good enough. Good enough. All righty. Thus endeth that foolishness, which, if y'all recall, moves us swiftly onto what is, compared to what we've been watching, at least the most logical portion of our show. Just the, that makes it time for shameless plugs.
Plug and pug, yeah.
Plug and pug. I like that. I'm actually ashamed that I did not come up with that. That was a Paul Adria thing, was it not?
I feel like it is. Like because I'm repeating that. I did not say that.
Yeah. Nor did I. Can't take credit for that either. But all right.
It wasn't a dick joke, and it wasn't about video games, so it wasn't an original thought of mine.
All right. Well, you know what? Here, let's throw up an important plug first. Here we go. You've seen it before, but you're seeing it again. Our good friend David, who just rocks.
313.
Absolutely, woohoo! All right, and David, if you're still listening, if this babble from these homeopaths did not put you to sleep, I have messaged you on Hangouts. So check your Hangouts if you don't mind. All righty, on to the shameless plugs. And who is first on the list? Mason. Mason, it's you. Tell us how cool you are and what you do and how you abuse flat earthers and things of that sort.
Well, I'm a Photoshop troll right now and a hobbyist baker using scientific methods to actually perfect something that I've been working on right now.
Uh-huh.
I change like stuff every single week. And big foodie science. Right now I'm mucking around with an endoscope and a Geiger counter.
Aha.
And I got a bunch of other stuff too. I'm just a hobbyist.
Which I trust.
Change stuff.
I trust you'll keep us updated.
Yeah.
Excellent. Actually, they just came out with a Geiger counter shield for the Arduinos, which I was very interested in. The latest thing is to make a sonic screwdriver with an Arduino that actually senses things. So made a lot of progress, and the Geiger counter is going to be the last piece. But all right, very good. Let us move on down the list. Bit of short list tonight, probably due to the holiday weekend. Eat, you're up. Tell us how cool you are, what you do, and all kinds of wildness like that.
Actually, I kind of have things I could talk about.
Rockin'.
I recently got a media code from Bethesda, so I've been playing in the Quake Champions beta, and I've been recording it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be a couple of the videos were for other people's channels, but I'm thinking like I'm going to try to get some stuff to my own thing going. But like that, is there like even a chat I could send you like a link for a thing, or I guess there isn't.
In this version of Hangout, no. Do you want it just to be? Well, what do you want to be done with a link? Do you want
So yeah, no. I was just going to give you a link. Basically, I was just going to shoot my like Steam thing out there, right? Like I like to hang out. I like to make people laugh. I like to play games. If I'm not producing material, and I can't necessarily guarantee that I will be able to.
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that I don't really have much to bring material wise. Like I can put more Quake videos out there, but I'm not by far the best at it. And so all you're really going to be doing is just listening to somebody just babble and gargle while playing Quake Champions. I mean, if that's your thing, yeah, cool. Tune into my stuff. But I can't imagine that I'm going to be like, you know, shutting the internet down. So, but yeah, like, hold on. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Never mind. No, yeah, just eat meal. It's all E's, no A's. You can find me around. I'm on Steam. Hit me up if you want a game. I'm always down to have a hangout, have a bit of a chill. Like I said, just yeah. Me and you, dude. I feel like we're both kind of just hobbyists, like to hang out. So, yeah, nothing really to sell here. Just gonna keep talking till you tell me to stop.
Guys, let's all be real quiet so he thinks he has to continue because it's like, you know, spotlight's on him. Let's like not.
Listen.
Oh shit! He can hear me.
That is not a game you want to play with me, right? You think I can't stop? Go get a snack. You go get a snack. Call into work. Tell them you're not going to be there on Tuesday. I have some stories to tell.
Alrighty.
If you've never been in a broke down elevator with me, you know I will talk to fill the silence.
Good to know. And as for the links, we've got that we got a G+ back and forth going. Any links you want included in the video description, please send over, and I will make sure to include them. That wasn't you, was it? Someone just messaged me. Who the hell was it?
That was me.
God damn it! All right, enough of your foolishness. Let's. All right. Yeah. So you send me links. I publish for you. Good enough?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So
right.
I'll throw my at the very least I'll throw my Steam link in there. So if anybody wants to have a game, have a hangout, cool. Want to have somebody tell jokes, whatever. That's me.
Sounds good. I would, but all I do on Steam is I still do the Flight Simulator, which Mason clued me into a year and a half ago, and I still suck at it. So, but yes, you send, I publish. That's how that works. All right. Let's see. Who else we got? I guess that's it. We don't have anybody else on the list. Oh my. We got RJ. RJ, tell us how cool you are.
Gosh, yes. Well, I'm trying to destroy creationism and intelligent design and anybody who thinks as badly as all that, and to do it all with a certain amount of style and panache. And that's what I've been doing. I've managed to produce the kick butt book, Evolution Slam Dunk, which nobody had ever done before in a way more comprehensive, an incredible tour de force. And everybody needs to get it. If they haven't, I can use the royalties to boot. Eat's got my books, so he knows what the hell I'm doing, so he can talk about that a little bit. How are you coming with those?
I am more than halfway through the paralogs of Phileas Fogg, and on interest though, because I am like I'm actually more interested in the evolution one. So like I started thumbing through that the other day, because it's just an interesting idea. Like I never put serious thought into what exactly went into, you know, transitioning us from reptiles to mammals. And you did a good job talking it up. And so like I think I read first 15 pages the other day. So like I like that too. So I'm hoping that it kind of builds. But,
yeah, well, what I did, I realized that the average person probably knows very little about the subject. Professional paleontologists know the whole yin-yang, so they're not a problem. But the average person doesn't realize this astonishing evidence that's sitting out there, that's been out there all along and hadn't been covered very well in the anti-creationism counter response. And I'm going, what the hell is the problem with everybody? Why hasn't somebody written this book before? Then the other side of it relates to how you can use this book, because the big bulk of it is once you have that data set down, you're going to get to see how every single creationist and intelligent designer has ever bumped into the reptile mammal transition. And it ain't a pretty picture. you're going to see the biggest head up the ass dumbness again and again and again, from Dwayne Gish all the way down to Michael Denton from his book last year. And that means that when you bring up the reptile mammal transition against the creationists who said there's no evidence for macroevolution, no, and you start talking about the reptile mammal, you'll know every possible counter argument that they can offer because you'll have already read it all. I already covered it and explained why they have their head up their ass. And so you've got a level of comprehensivity and know the complete data field. It's like you're coming in and you know all of their moves before they do them. So why isn't that not going to be useful? I think it will be.
I would tend to agree. And all right, I think.
And on the novel part, you're halfway through the book. So have you got to California yet? Have they hit San Francisco?
No, they have not.
They're still. Have they picked up the Columbiad?
I think so.
No spoilers, RJ.
Well, you'll be on the.
Yeah. But so the way my brain works, I often.
Okay, so you've and you've already therefore seen the mayhem that ensued on the Carnatic because of Mr. Passepartout.
Yeah. No, I don't want to give anything away for any potential readers.
Yeah, I will just say this.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Did I do the action adventure scenes pretty good in those?
Yeah, I take issue with some of the spelling, but other than that, I think you're okay. No.
Occasional typos. I can admit that. I keep on popping finding. I go, what the hell did I forget that one because I didn't proofread?
No. I'm completely messing with you. Everything's solid. No, I just broke my computer chair. Beautiful.
Damn it.
Wow. And how do you like Aouda as a character, as a kick butt woman?
I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit more like development. Like it. I don't know. She just doesn't seem to be contributing.
Maybe you're too early on.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Does the chef come out when you're 2 bites into your 5-star dinner and be like, so hey, how you liking it so far?
I know. Well, that's because I'm compulsive on wanting to get a feedback on it.
I knew you were going to be chomping at the bit at this, and that's actually kind of why I've been trying to read it faster. But the way my brain works, I often have to go back and reread stuff it's.
Well, make sure you read it so you enjoy it. I mean, don't change your reading style.
Yeah. I mean, it should never be a labor. It's a matter that you want to expand because you need to know how the hell it turns out. You're interested enough in the characters to want to know how all the little tale works out.
It is. I mean, I am enjoying it, and I do kind of like the pressure because it forces me to read. So,
indeed.
I'm about halfway through writing the sequel now. And in fact, I was regaling Size about the material that I'm coming up with for the second book, and all the adventures, which I will give no spoilers at all. But obviously, everybody needs to read the first novel so that they can be primed for Under the Southern Double Cross.
Okay. Very good. That's all right. And then I think we spent too little time on Evolution Slam Dunk, and I'm not saying anything about it.
Oh well, I
get it reading.
That one on it said it is. It's sufficiently good. If you read the Amazon.com reviews, you'll find the one from Christine Janis. She's the British paleontologist who I had found out, to my shock and surprise, that she was following my work for years and had never said anything. And I only found out about it because she accepted my Facebook friendship a little bit ago. She go, oh, well, that's Downard. Yeah, okay, click, okay. And I found out she not only had the book, she was revising her new mammal book that she's writing based on information in my book in her field that she didn't know about.
Indeed.
That's some indication that I'm not writing a book that is under-researched.
Oh, look, and there was one topic we were also going to cover, RJ, if you recall, and look what leads right into it.
Yes.
Look at Fino's question. Yes.
Aha.
The answer to your question is yes. We're the working title is RJ's Evolution Hour, and the plan so far is Wednesday nights, 8 p.m.
Yep.
Do I have it all right so far, RJ? That's good.
Yep.
And we're working on I've got basically almost all of the technology working to where we can do a call-in show as well, to where we'll have the public chat for all of you fine folk.
Yeah.
And
At
also,
the very least, we'll have the public chat. And now that
Yeah.
I've gotten that down a little bit better, that I can be responsive to people who are popping up on the screen, so that we can have a true interactivity on stuff. Pick my brain. Pick my brain.
Indeed, and we were working on an integration of Skype with the sound, with the virtual audio cable piping the sound so that it actually gets transmitted and recorded in video, and that's really the last hurdle to overcome. But yes, look forward to that. It'll be a show sort of similar to this, with the addition possibly of it being a call-in show, where if there's something too big to throw into the chat and you just want to Skype in, we'll be able to take the call and you'll be able to ask your question live. So that's basically. I think I covered the idea without saying too much at the moment. Anything to add?
Ideally, it would be nice to do things where we can, if necessary, improvise, even if we had a particular topic that was popping up that we were thinking about doing, but something pops up, just like this bit with about Andrew Snelling suing the Department of the Interior because they won't let him collect rocks to do pseudoscience stuff. And boy, the Coulter Camp creationist bunch is just, they've got petitions. They're going to try to get the Justice Department to weigh in to let poor little Andrew Snelling do his science.
Didn't they say in their report, they were like, dog, you could just get them rocks from over there. Like, your report doesn't matter here.
Yeah, and he denies that that's true. But the major thing is what does he think he's going to do? It's clear that all the science evidence that this guy has stumbled around as a guy with an actual geology degree has not persuaded him that the Earth is billions of years old. So clearly that evidence hurdle is a clear problem. He's a doctrinal young Earth creationist. And I know from reading his creationist stuff and doing source checking on material, the guy has a perfectly natural ability to ignore evidence in his own cited sources, to where he just doesn't think about that kind of stuff. So I'm sure he'll be doing the same kind of tendentious radiometric dating crap that Steve Austin has tried to do, and what's his name with the rate group? Name suddenly escapes me. Starts with a V. At any rate, they'll do science stuff, but it's always in furtherance that it can only be allowed to show the thing they already want to be true. So he's about as sciencey as the science papers on homeopathy.
Indeed.
And what worries me is whether or not the Trump era Justice Department will no longer be kind of paying that close of attention to the sciencey stuff. And so this could have some interesting wrinkles that wouldn't have been the case had there been a President Clinton.
Indeed. All right, so that's coming up. If you like the fact that RJ's is perfectly willing to distribute all the knowledge he's gathered, I would invite you. This Wednesday, 8 p.m. is the projected start time. I'll put out notices on Twitter and Facebook, everywhere you guys have seen to know when this show is. I'll put out notifications, but that is the proposed time, and it seems like that's going to be it. RJ, you forgot to say you have a Patreon site that everybody should go to.
Oh gosh, I do have a Patreon site that they
What's the matter
should
with
all
you?
go to. Yes, help underwrite that.
Don't make me come over there.
Put even a bloody little link on that, and I already put the thing up of the GoFundMe, and you can find that links at my tip website as well. So any way that you can do, I've been still hoping that at some point the little $5 challenge will go, where lots and lots and lots of people all move together, all in. That would be wonderful, and it would show that we can do the creationists managed to do effortlessly. It's creationist who just got elected in Montana, when he punched the guy who got more money to their side, it was the creationist. He's a millionaire to begin with, and he managed to get more people donating to him because of that. That's a weird thing. We on our side need to be doing this a heck of a lot more. and marshal our resources better. Here's my little doodad for the Patreon that I've just, and then of course the books. There you want the physical thing. Cy keeps on threatening to send me his copy of Slam Dunk for me to autograph it and mail it back to him. I'm still perfectly happy to do that.
Excellent. That'll be nice. All right. Well, there we go. I think we've covered everything in the shameless plugs, except for me to. We had our first patron at Patreon, and I'm guessing you guys all know who it is by now. David313. Thank you very much for supporting our efforts. Definitely appreciated. And we'll keep doing what we're doing. All right. We've covered the plug part. That just leaves the pug as far as I know.
Look, save it, RJ. I've already given my money. You are doing my voicemail. It is decided.
Rockin'.
I have it on record.
I am happy to hear that.
I can easily record that onto a video or whatever, and if you can process the sound off of a video, I can do it that way.
Look, that's a problem for tomorrow, me. Tonight, me right now ain't trying to think about that.
All right, we're good, and very good. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Now, who's messaging me? Jesus. Let's see. Oh, it's David. Kick ass. Thank you for your support, David. That's fine. That's very good indeed. Alrighty. That being the case, the esteemed panel, thank you for your wisdom during this event, and I apologize. And everybody in the public chat, thank you for your wisdom and for joining us, and I apologize to you as well for both of those videos. That being said, there's only one thing left. It is time to bring on the
pug.
Yes.
Pug.
It's that time.
Oh, look at his little face.
Yeah, look at that face.
Oh, I just want to mash it up and feed him biscuits.
Even I can't be crabby and unpleasant.
Cute little smile in his eyes.
Little googly eyes, both looking in different directions. Great.
He's only got one emotion, happy.
How tasty Tortugan's taste, chomping into bits.
Yeah, Fino, sorry about those letters. Again, this is a great motorcycling song. Indian motorcycles, check them out.
Myself, I'm sorry.
We should have more banter. There's not enough banter going on.
Not enough what now?
Banter.
This is not the outro on like Good Morning America, okay? We don't have to talk over the credits.
And yet we're talking over the credits.
I want people to listen to the song, and you want people to listen to the stupid things that come out of my mouth. It's one or the other.
You're right, and the best part of the song is coming up. I will clam up for that. Here it comes. Coming up. Yep, Fino, that's the song. Yeah, I'm with you, Emma. Plus, I hate homeopathy. Oh, okay, best part, here we go. That's it. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.